Hey Southpaw, I think I saw Starlight Worker. How are you both doing today? How's it going? Good morning. How's it going? So, you'll be uploading the Q&A from last Sunday. Since you asked, yeah, I'll write that down. I've been a little bit, I haven't been uploading those. From last Sunday. Okay, I took notes. Hey, good morning, Divinely Protected. 1, 2, 3, 4. How are you doing? How's everybody doing this morning? Starlight Worker. The universe clearly told me who my future husband is going to be, who your future husband is going to be, including major details. I'm guessing you're going to ask for a reading. The first thing first and foremost was like, move in that direction, but try not to get attached, which I know can be difficult when you when you have that, so let me see here. What I'm getting to do is to encourage you to move that direction, Starlight Worker. Do your best not to get attached and leave yourself open enough to let things develop the way they're supposed to. And what do I mean by that? What do you guys mean by that? Try not to force anything just because you have that information. Because sometimes there are lessons when we get those messages and try to force those things, if that makes sense. And you might be different than me, because there's been times, not that I've got that channeled information myself, but normally it would be other people who would tell me that sort of thing, like, oh, you're gonna end up marrying this person, and oh, I see this and I see this, and then I'd get really attached to the outcome, and then it wouldn't, and especially as my gifts develop, more often when certain people would, let's just say now my guides fill me in with more information when people say certain things, as opposed to me getting super attached to them outright, if that makes sense, just because it didn't always work out the way that I was, certain people would tell me it did, tell me it would. And so that was a lesson for me, not to get attached when those messages come through. For you, it might be different. It might work out. But that's why the advice I want to provide and that they're saying is move in that direction. Don't get attached. Leave it open enough with the possibilities for it and other things that you're not constricting it to having to be this thing and then you freak someone out and they run away. You do have to consider who they are and what they need as well. I think you'll be okay, though. I think it'll be good for you to pursue it. So I hope that makes sense, Starlight Worker. I hope that helps. So let's see. General reading on why you know in advance. I'd be curious to know how you knew too, but let's see. We'll do it really quickly. Sorry, that sigh wasn't for you. That was me waking up. So why does Starlight Worker know in advance about that message she was talking about earlier? One thing I'm getting is it's so you take action. And it's also so you give a chance to certain things, if that makes sense. But there is a message, don't get attached, is one thing they're saying as well. I think the more attached you get, it could potentially get rougher, is what they're saying. So those are some of the quick messages I get for you as far as why. But there is a message like to try not to get wrapped up in it at the same time and let it evolve too. shift and like let things shift and play out how they're going to, if that makes sense. But if you didn't get that message, you might not be doing the things you're about to be doing, is something they said, which is, but there's always a reason for everything. So that's not like a super, hopefully that starts to explain it. I know I don't think I went super in depth on it. What is that? Yeah, so I don't know if that answers that. I don't know if that helps, but that's what I feel guided to say though so far. There's a little bit more that I'm going to get into before we move on. So what else would be good? What would be highest and best for you to know about the whole situation right now? I don't know. I just get to let it develop. So I don't want to pull things out of my butt if I'm not getting more detailed information right now. So I hope that's a start. But I would definitely let it play out, and it's either going to work out or it's going to be a lesson for you. So that's what I'd say, if that makes sense. I don't think that was the answer you needed, so I apologize about that last bit or any of it. I'm going to pull a card for you and just like see what comes through. Three of Cups. So one thing I'm getting is if you take action and move towards that, it might not turn out exactly how you expected, but it does lead to something really cool. That's what I'm getting about that as well. I'm getting this as the current situation. Five of Cups is something they're talking about. The universe is also trying to give you hope for the future is something I'm getting. If you let things fall away as they will with these Three of Cups, there's a lot more for you on the other side of all this. For instance, one way I love seeing this card read is there's these two cups behind him. He turns around, there's two cups, and there's a bridge that leads to a castle. And there's so much more for him, or this represents you, of course, in the future on the other side of everything he's going through with this, if he'll turn around and look at all that stuff. So one message you could ask is what could be on the other side of all this information that I'm getting, and see if you get any more information on that. So Seven of Swords keeps wanting to pop out about this topic as well. So what is this card about here for the situation? What I get is don't rush anything, honestly, with this card. That's not the traditional meaning of Seven of Swords, but it's the message I'm getting when I sit with this card regarding your situation, Starlight Worker. But you know what? If you're worried about the situation working out or not working out, I do get love will find you. You really have nothing to fear. It's just letting things develop right now so things play out the proper way. I hope that helps at all as far as those messages and what I'm getting on the situation. I hesitate. I don't know. That's just what I am. So I'm just going to move on. I hope that helped at least, or started, or gave you something to go off of for starters. Am I losing my voice? Okay. So I'm going to move on to some of the next questions. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I got into that reading, and I hope everyone's doing really well today. I hope you're all having a fantastic Sunday morning. And, of course, if anyone's new, I'm just channeling messages and answers to people's questions, or pulling cards and doing readings, or whatever I'm guided to do. I just pretty much follow my divine guidance essentially on who I answer, what I answer, when I answer it. And also the best way to answer, I will absolutely get water. Thank you. I do need water. Good morning, Larissa. Probably the best way to ask a question is to put it in the Q&A box over here. It's a little question mark. I don't know if you see it on the same place on my screen right there. And that way your question's still there. And because chat moves really quickly, especially once we start getting more than like 20 people, and the lives tend to get from like 70 to 200. I think once I had 212 people, it was insane. But all that being said, oh, thank you. Yeah, the Metatron's cube. So that's probably the best way to ask questions instead of spamming the chat. I don't think I have any moderators on right now, but if I do, good morning. I appreciate you. So let's delve into it. I'm gonna just kind of, okay, I already pulled up Prince Priestess question. And then, because also the Q&A box totally random, and I'll just kind of bounce back and forth between chat and Q&A as far as I do my best to follow my divine guidance and just what my guides tell me to do as far as doing all this. So, Prince Priestess asked, any messages from their guides? 'Cause her heart is a bit heavy. Okay. The Hermit is the first card coming out here. So let's see here. The first message I actually do get for you with the Hermit is to pull back from everything. I do get a message everything's coming together. It just doesn't look like it. And I know sometimes, like, when I've gone through those phases where it's like, you know, something's happening and they're like, everything's coming together, or like someone says that, I'm like, really? But a little bit while down the road, it does, is something they're talking about. For some reason, for you, one of the messages they have is they're showing me the Hermit with his walking stick, and he's kind of poking on the road ahead, interestingly enough. And one of the messages I'm getting for you is just to kind of be discerning with your next step, is something they're talking about. I would do your best not to do anything rash if you can avoid it. But as far as like any next steps for you, the step does present itself as something I'm getting first and foremost. It's just like it's not there yet, or it's still being uncovered. It's interesting because like this Hermit is kind of like, he looks like he's on a peak. The visual they showed me is like you at this top of like a peak, or like you're waiting for the next step, and then it's almost like this levitating purple rock shows up for you to step on. And of course, I don't think that's literally going to happen by any stretch of the imagination. I know that that's not literally going to happen, but metaphorically, the step can present itself at the right time for you to step forward. So also, like, try not to step before you're ready is another message I'm getting. That could be in love, particularly, honestly, as well. Temperance coming out here. So what is the message for you with Temperance? One of the questions they want you to ask yourself, because, you know, in the background there's this like shining light, or at least on the gold and black tarot it looks like a shining light. And so one of the questions they had for you is to ask yourself, where can you shine? Is pretty much what I heard them asking you to ask yourself, or if you to ask the universe to manifest where you can shine. I feel like in some ways you've been around certain people who don't let you shine. That's a message they're saying as well. So sometimes it's okay to stay friends with certain people like that, is something they're talking about. As long as you're not around them all the time and you feel like you have to suppress certain parts of you or aspects of you or your expression to please them, if that makes sense. But you deserve to be around people who help you shine, is something they're saying as well. Like, so there's like questions like, where do you feel most at home? Like, where can you shine, or things like that. They are, I feel like this is a message that's been coming through for you. They are helping you open up more. The angels, your spirit guides, because like one thing about Temperance, at least on the gold and black tarot, this just looks like a very open third eye to me on the front of this angel's, you know, forehead. So I do feel like that's happening. There's also like one thing they're showing me with this angel and its wings as well, is they're almost showing the wings being nurtured and healed. Like, not literally on the card, but in my intuitive visuals, they showed the wing as like there's like some blood on the wing and they were healing the wing. So one of the messages is like they're kind of nurturing you, potentially healing you so that you can fly. Excuse me. So any other important messages with Temperance? I know not very few of this had anything to do with the traditional meaning of Temperance, by the way, but I just read based, you know, intuitively and how they channel the messages through. So any other messages for you regarding Temperance as well? It is a little bit similar to the Hermit. You know, with the Hermit, one of the messages was like hold back for a little, like a second, or step back for a second. And Temperance can be about holding back as well, if in a bit of a different way, typically in the traditional meaning. Balance, you know, refraining from indulgence, or overindulgence, I should say. Okay, they want me to show you this card, Ten of Cups. Sorry, I didn't see it. Totally. And so with the Ten of Cups here, I'm getting more like March, excuse me, as a month for you, where this starts to come in. And Ten of Cups, you know, is typically read as like happy home and happy life, or happiness, joy. It can also read as fortune after difficulty, is something that's coming to me or popping into my head as well. So anything else important for you with this card here? this is things coming together, and they started singing the "Come Together" song by the Beatles with this card as well. And I know that message already came through. One thing they're saying is like you're gonna have the right places for you, the right people for you. Hang tight. You're going through a healing is pretty much what they're saying as well. And like, okay, things will turn around for you as something they're saying as well. Six of Wands is a card of victory, and we have the Nine of Cups flipping out here too, which is a card of wish fulfillment. It's just not yet. Nine of Wands definitely wants to come out though, which is a card of persistence and perseverance, typically as well. Sometimes just on the other side of what you're going through is what you want, is the message I'm getting with this card. And sometimes, like, once you get to the other side of it, it's just a few steps after that, if that makes sense. But the main message is keep going. That's the words they're showing me with this card. Excuse me. And they're pointing my eyes to this gentleman's boots here at the bottom of the card. And this isn't about gender, so this person's boots here. And I'm very curious about what that's about, so let me see what they say that's about here. And like one of the songs they started playing, and they started playing this song called "Die With Your Boots On" by Iron Maiden, which I haven't listened to since I was 12, if I'm gonna be honest. So I don't know where that's coming from, but give me 1 second to get the message here. Why are you pointing my eyes to the boots here? I guess the message, the words they're giving me are it's not over yet, I guess you could say. And, die with your boots on is kind of that message to me is definitely one of perseverance, where like you keep your boots on and keep going. I don't feel like you're going to die. I don't literally think you're going to die with your boots on. And I really don't think that's the message. I know that's not the message. But it's kind of like this message, like keep your boots on and keep treading, keep walking forward. So is tread lightly a message? I don't think that's as important. But the main message is perseverance until some of your goals are realized. So anything else that would help with your hearts? Weirdly enough, Ten of Swords is coming out reversed. I don't remember having this card reversed in my deck. Most of my cards are right side up. I usually keep them right side up in the deck. But this is more what's coming, where it's like, because Ten of Swords is usually like an ending. It's dead. It's done and over with. But this kind of goes along with the boots message. It's not over, if that makes sense. So let me see exactly what they say with this card, with the Ten of Swords here. What I'm getting, interestingly enough, is you actually need to flip this right side up and end something. Ten of Swords is definitely a card of like over, like it's over, whatever it is, it's over. Like if it's a relationship, it's done. Like there's no going back. If it's a job and you left, it's done. So if there's anything that's been drawn out that you feel like you need to end, it's like you need to end it, and that's part of the message. The other, I do get a message it is going to turn around for you. I feel like that's a message that's been coming through for a lot of people, just like people I've been doing readings for collectively. So I might say it a lot for probably, well, how much longer am I going to be saying it for? Maybe a month, honestly, and maybe it's part of the Mercury retrograde thing, but that's a message that's coming through for you as well. It's like it is going to turn around. There's also like just a side message for you before I move on to the next question of let people show you who you are is pretty much usually what I get is like let people show you who they are. But I do get people are going to start reflecting you back to you and showing you the positive aspects of you. I don't know if you've had that for a bit is something I'm getting. So I would keep that in mind as well. As that's just something that's kind of coming in February, I'd say, and like March. So keep that in mind. So I hope that helps, Prince Priestess. I hope that brought any of the messages that were helpful for that. And I definitely hope your heart feels a bit lighter and you feel a bit lighter and things improve for you. You're in a journey is something they're talking about. Keep trekking. So I hope that helps. Brandon, I have chills. That was also resonant. Awesome. I'm really grateful to hear it. I'm always grateful to hear it. Of course, I always appreciate it. Thank you for the feedback. Anna Starborn, was Jeannie my twin flame? Okay, I'm gonna have to explain this a little bit. the message I get is yes, energetically, but no, not really. Sometimes people come in and serve an energetic purpose that's similar to a twin flame, but I get they weren't literally your twin flame, if that makes sense. That's more the answer I'm getting for that situation. And I'll share my... Okay, it doesn't matter. I was going to share my definition of twin flame, and I guess I'll do it just in case. For me, and I rarely talk about twin flames, you'll probably notice if you followed my work. I don't know. Anyways, for me, a twin flame is the same soul incarnate in two different, I guess you could say, bodies at the same time on Earth. Because souls operate, what I always got is like souls operate outside of time. So it's like, yeah, you have other lifetimes happening. The soul incarnates in other lifetimes as well as this one, but it can happen at the same time on Earth because the soul operates outside of time. Is sort of how it works. I'm not sure if that's like the exact super accurate. That's just, sometimes when you start to get into how this stuff works, it gets a little bit, I don't want to say amorphous, but really interesting as they try to explain it to humans. Though I do believe it can be understandable. But that's a quick definition. It's like the Cliff Notes version, I guess you could say, of my definition, what I've picked up on. And it's all now is another thing they showed me that I did understand, because they just kind of gave me the knowing of what it's all now meant. So I don't know why that's important for me to say, but I'm just going to say that. So I hope that answers that, Anna Starborn. And I hope that helps. And I hope you have a beautiful Sunday, whether you stick around or not. Elephant Whispers, messages on love, crown open, right? So yeah, your crown's open. They also want to give a message of open it further. Something they're talking about. For some reason, green crystals are coming through for you, which is not typically like a crown chakra crystal, but I feel like that would help as something they're talking about. Emerald is one that's coming forward for you. Also, green aventurine would be a good one. Those are the two I'm getting to recommend for you. Interestingly enough, if you haven't already been sitting with green crystals, because I feel like I brought... Did I mention that to you at some time in the past? I don't know. But messages on love here. Four of Wands is can be a card of marriage. But I want to see what the message is for you besides that for love here. One thing they're saying for you, because this is a card of finish lines, and the message they're giving me is like resolve things inside of yourself. There's certain things to resolve inside yourself, and then love comes in, like certain levels of healing, and clarity on life and who you are. And you know a lot about who you are. There's just a few things they want to bring in to really help you see yourself more clearly, is one thing they're saying. And that's going to happen automatically. I don't necessarily think you need to do anything about that. Of course, you can expedite it and ask that happens if you feel like that's something you would like to happen as well. Eight of Cups. So one of the messages I'm getting is walking away from your beliefs about love, but I want to see what else I get with this card for you. And also walking away from certain thought processes that have kept you away from love in the past, if that makes sense. Of course, Eight of Cups is a card of walking away from what no longer serves you. And that's why I think we have so many tarot readers who use that phrase, walking away from what no longer serves you. And sometimes I think it can be a really good message. And maybe it's an unfounded worry, but sometimes I wonder, like, is this becoming trite? I really hope this is not becoming trite. Because sometimes it is an important message. But what I'm getting for you is this is about walking away from your patterns, honestly, internal, your beliefs and some of your thoughts. So you can shift to be more open shift to be more open to what's coming in for you is what I'm getting, are the words I'm getting. Queen of Cups is someone who's romantic, emotionally in tune, heartfelt. That is someone who's coming in for you in the future. I'm curious, I don't normally even go into signs, but they're giving me Scorpio as a sign. I think a lot of people read Queen of Cups as Cancer, but they said Scorpio. So I'm saying Scorpio. I also feel like it's good not to get attached to signs, but for some reason they're saying Scorpio, so I'm going to say Scorpio. Queen of Cups is also emotional stability. That's where you're headed in general is a message I'm getting. And one thing I'm getting for you as well is as long as you're balancing yourself, you're going to have a balanced partnership coming in is something they're talking about, which you need is something they're saying. But you do have better coming in for you than the past. Right now is the self-work that brings this in. Wheel of Fortune was also coming in for you. So interestingly enough, the visual they were showing me is like this almost looked like, like the school lockers, like they'd have the metal bar that would loop around here and you put it through the hole in your locker door. They almost showed it was like the universe, like using this as like turning the lock, where you have to find the right lock combination. So I want to see what that message is about because I thought that was really interesting. Right now this is kind of what I've already been saying. Right now you're unlocking yourself and allowing your soul through you more is what they're showing me and talking about. This is a message, of course, and again, I might be saying this for another month based on what they're telling me. This is a message of a positive turnaround as well. Wheel of Fortune can indicate, I'm getting the words change of fate or the wheel turning in your favor. It can also represent luck. Not for this reading, they said. So never mind. Any other important messages for you right now that would be for your highest good? For you, another thing that's kind of showing up is they're kind of recommending to, if you haven't already, like try to work with a dragon spirit animal. And it's always interesting to me talking about the concept of spirit animals because there are sometimes, dragon shows up as a guide or as like spirit guides for certain people. I would just call upon it as a spirit animal to help you and see what happens, is one thing they're saying. That's more the message, and that can be very protective. It can also help to alchemize you and transform you and elevate you. And it's also, dragon can be a lot about magic, potency. I'm getting being who you are, which I don't know. That's just what they're saying for you regarding it. But I would also trust yourself here. There are a few moves coming up here that you need to make is something I'm getting. The more you're trusting you and your intuition, the better things are going to play out, of course. And you are being open so you can be more intuitive is something they're talking about. And for some reason, they want me to give a reminder just to cleanse your space, because they just showed me you with sage, kind of going around cleansing your space. And they're kind of recommending you do that weekly or bi-weekly is something they're saying or reminding you of just to help you out a little bit. And sometimes, I don't know, that's just a message coming through for you, so I'm going to trust it. For some reason, they want me to talk about Tiger Eye. I do have a tiger eye right next to me, and they pointed my eyes to it, and they wanted me to show you for some reason. And it's blue tiger's eye, whatever. Why were they talking about tiger's eye? I think that would also be a good crystal for you if you don't already have it, because it is a crystal of good fortune, good luck, prosperity. It can also be protective. It can also be grounding, and it does work on the lower three. Well, blue tiger's eye is throat chakra as well, but it does tend to work on the lower three chakras, which is really nice to have all those taken care of, so you have a solid foundation for everything else, your spirituality and everything else. So I hope that helps. Hope that helps. Elephant Whispers. Hope that is a good message for you. Hope that resonates. No, you didn't. Oh, did I not? Oh, shoot. I can't remember what you said that to. I'm so sorry. Oh, is Destiny here? Hey, Destiny. How's it going? By the way, I think, Destiny, you might be the first mod that showed up today. I want to thank everyone here for being really cool in the comments, as far as I could tell. Sometimes, when I'm wrapped up in messages, I don't read the comments, so I don't know. But angel numbers everywhere, stay the course. They just said stay yes when you asked about staying the course. So good to see you, by the way, aka Papa Bear. I hope you're doing fantastic. But yes, they said stay the course, yes. Unless you have any other questions, I don't think there's anything else super important that they have to say, interestingly enough. But they just said to say yes with stay the course, so I thought I'd answer that really quickly. And if you don't already, of course, I'd be sure to like look those angel numbers up sometimes, just so you have your own understanding you're honing in. So good. Thanks, Brandon. You're welcome. Absolutely. Cool. MC831203. Oh, cool. You just asked it in the comments too. Thanks, Prince Priestess. I appreciate you. Okay. 5 of Pentacles coming out for you, MC831203. Who's this pull for? Yeah. 8 of Wands also really wanting to come out, excuse me. And the Chariot, they want me to show you the Chariot as well as another card for you, which is good. 5 of Pentacles is a card, and a lot of the ways I see it read is it's like being left out in the cold. Like, you know, these people are out in the cold, they're beggars, they look homeless. And this might be something you are going through right now or have to go through. But on the other side of this would be, you know, fortune after difficulty is something they're saying for me to tell you, honestly. And they are showing the 10 of Cups in my intuitive visuals because that's what that card can mean. Once again, one message that they're showing me right now is like, in this background, like it does look kind of like darkness. This is supposed to be the wall, the outer wall of a church, you know, or a cathedral, you know, with the stained glass and the 5 Pentacles. But one thing they said with me when they pointed my eyes to it is it represented darkness. And one thing they said is it's okay to venture through darkness. You'll be safe. And the other message they had for you is not all darkness means you're lost. You are right where you're meant to be, and this is preparation for the future. Any difficulty, any confusion, or weird stuff that's happening, you're being prepped for future you. And going through this phase now means you can have it all in the future, is something I'm getting as well. Interestingly enough, with the 8 of Wands, what's the message for you right here? I get this as communication from someone you need to hear from. 8 of Wands typically is about movement or communication, of course, rapid movement and things moving quickly. So I do feel like you're going to have someone reach out to you and either turn things around for you or help spin things in a different light so you can see things a little bit more clearly with what's going on, is something I'm getting as well, which will be good. And again, maybe I'll just say this all live. Sorry, maybe I'll just get this out of the way and say that collectively I've been getting things will be turning around positively for a while. But I do feel like that could be happening for you, will be happening for you in the next month or so, honestly. For some reason, like, they're pointing my eyes to these little plants that are like coming off of this wand here. You can kind of see it in the camera. But interestingly enough, like one of the messages, it's kind of funny that I just shoved my face up into the camera for that, but they're just giving me the word clover, excuse me, which symbolizes luck is what I'm getting. And I'm also getting a message of ask for luck. You can manifest more luck in your life. It's something that a practitioner I knew said to me, Anna Anthony, great reader, Anna Synergy Healing on Facebook. I like to shout her out because she's cool and good at what she does. But one thing she said to me one time during a reading was that it's possible to walk in luck and generate your own luck and manifest that for yourself. That wasn't her exact words, manifest it. But what I took away from it was you can kind of manifest a constant luck for yourself, or that you're always walking in luck, no matter where you go or what you do, that the universe is always supporting you in a sense. And there's multiple ways to do it. You could, what's the best way to say it? You could hone your spirituality in and get your connection going and work with your guides and activate that divine protection and some of that, the plan, of course, that source has for you. And of course, you can't really mess that up. And then like you're kind of always divinely guided and things kind of tend to work out because you're needed. Not that you aren't all needed, because everyone is needed, oh my gosh. But when you activate your divine plan and what's here for you and that divine guidance and what you're here to do, there's a lot that convenes to get you to do it and to take care of you so you can do it, if that makes sense. Other than that, you can just ask for luck. That's probably the one I should have just left you with. Just ask for luck. Just ask for luck, and then it shows up for you. And I'm getting you will be lucky as well as a message they're saying. The Chariot was the other one that was important to come through, which is, they're giving me the word victory with the Chariot. But it's like big victory. For some reason that's jumping out at me because it's a major arcana with the Chariot here. There's a weird message for you. And I don't want you to take this the wrong way. I would like you to take this the right way. So I'm going to ask them to explain it a little bit more. But I got this message like, stop caring what's going on around you. So give me a second to get what that means. Like, stop caring what other people think of you. Stop caring what the environment around you is right now. Focus on what you need and go for that. That's what starts to open up space for you, is one thing I'm getting first and foremost. Because like, they were pointing my eyes to the moons on this Chariot rider's pauldrons. Like, he has the star up on his crown from the star card. He has the moons on his shoulders from the moon card. There's a lot of other cards that kind of come into this. And that one thing I'm getting is the star can symbolize luck. That can symbolize luck. But the other thing was like, they were saying with that moon, and like the moon card can kind of represent confusion or not sure what's going on, or like just kind of walking through darkness. It doesn't have to be bad darkness. It can just be like, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just walking my path. But it's almost like they want you to like not care if it's a moon phase or if it's confusing or anything. They want you to take action and do what's right and best for you, and not care what people think, essentially, because that leads to a victory. And it's not about being narcissistically selfish. It's more, oh, thank you for the mirror. It's more about being, oh my gosh. It's more about being self-focused, not self-absorbed, but self-focused on like what you need, excuse me, to bring you to your best self. So anything else that would be for your highest good with these cards and this message in general? Honestly, if I were to summarize this reading, I would say life is convening to turn you into someone who is really victorious overall. And I don't think anyone's a loser, honestly. But for some reason, maybe it's something you need to hear. They're saying not someone who's a loser. And you're not a loser. They're clarifying you're not a loser. But maybe that's something you think about yourself, or maybe that's something other people have said. And I'm really sorry if that's the case, because you don't deserve that. There's a lot of good things about you, honestly. You're a great person is what I get. And like, you know, maybe like most anyone, you have some things to work on, but that's not a fault. It's just a truth of what's going on, if that makes sense. And that it doesn't take away from your value, of course, and it shouldn't take away from your value, no matter what you're going through. But you have big things coming, so keep going. Anyways, hope that helped, MC. Hope that resonated, made sense to you. Oh, thank you for the, oh my God, the 20 bless yous, Wednesdays. I love you guys. Thank you. Spring in Paris, 88. Brandon, you were fired from your job. You're disabled. I get you'll get another one, was the first thing they just said right away. Keep looking for another job. Hopefully, I do get you'll be okay. I don't know I don't know what your options are as far as, you know, getting disability payments or unemployment or anything like that. You probably know what that is. But the first messages I'm getting are you'll get another job and you'll be okay. And it might seem like a big loss, but you're meant to go through this transition. It does build you a bit, and it does get you to a better place is what I'm getting. And they're showing me the Star Tarot card in my mind's eye for you, Spring in Paris, 88, which is definitely a card of, it's hope, it's about healing. But it's also about the stars aligning to get you the right thing is what they're showing me as well. They just showed the Star Tarot card and all the stars above it kind of started to move and align, and they said stars aligning to get you to the right place or to do the right thing. Oh my gosh. What I said at first is what they said. I don't know why I'm not remembering it, but Destruction card coming out for you, Spring in Paris, 8/8, of course, because that's kind of what that is. Getting fired is destruction in your life. But of course, sometimes things get destroyed, so something better can be built. That's the message they're giving for you. The other thing okay, what's important to get to? Okay. Sorry, I looked at these leaves and it reminded me of Green Man because it looked like Green Man eyes, but then and I guess it does look like Green Man because he has like the eyebrows. But the other thing they said is a butterfly. It looks like a butterfly, and I looked, and sure enough, these look like butterfly wings on either side with the eye on them and the leaves. So I don't think the leaves make it look like a butterfly wing, but they look like butterfly wings. And then they're like, that's what this is about, transformation. So in some ways it's not what you wanted. I get it's what you need, and I don't know if you feel the same way. And I know that hopefully it doesn't sound harsh when I say that, because it's not meant to be harsh. It's meant to be more like, this is something that gets you to a better place. So let the destruction take its course. Know you're taken care of. Ask for all that you need from the universe, whether it's specific frequencies, like maybe you want to ask for luck too. I don't know, maybe Green Man came up. That might be for someone else in the crowd, or maybe you want to ask Green Man for help, which is, I can't remember what tradition he's actually really from. But he's cool. Great person, great being to work with for the highest good, of course. Manifest was at the bottom of the deck, by the way, for you. So what do you need, and how can you ask for it from the universe? I'm also going to unmirror this, sorry, so that you can see the cards and read it. But I hope that makes sense so far. You'll know what to do. They kind of just showed information flowing through the crown of this, like the crown chakra of this thing. And they said you're going to know what to do. So I hope that helps. But you're going to be okay. I hope that helps, Spring in Paris. Just also, don't forget to also take action. I don't know. When I say people are going to be okay and it's going to work out well, it does. I've noticed. But for some reason, I just wanted, I don't know. Sometimes it still helps to still take action and do things, and not just be like, oh, okay, and just, do nothing unless there's nothing to do. But I hope that helps. Yes, for sure. You're up, Brandon. Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Oh, thank you for the hand hearts, Jamika. Okay. What deck am I using? Excuse me. Hey, Texas Chess. So I have the... Oh my gosh. Nine of Cups, Wish Fulfillment, for anyone who needs to see it. Lacey, good to see ya. Wish Fulfillment, for anyone who needs to see it. Black and Gold Tarot is what I'm using today. I have the box. It looks like this. Black Tarot, Black and Gold edition. Lo Scarabeo is the brand. I found it on Amazon, honestly. Then I'm also using this one is the Threads of Fate Oracle Lumen edition. Their website is thethreadsoffate.com. They just sell it through their website, I'm pretty sure. But they make really beautiful decks, of course. So it's very it's kind of, I don't know if luminescence is the right word, but very cool. Oh, this guy, Black and Gold Tarot. And I'll show you the Threads of Fate box too. Rocco's Bulldog Life. Will me and Anthony get back together? From Lauren. Hey, I know this might not be what you want to hear. I am getting it's not worth it. It won't be what you want. It seems like it, but it's not exactly what's right for you, Lauren. So I apologize. This is the Lumen Threads of Fate edition Oracle card decks box. And what I'm getting for you as well, Lauren, we have Movement with the snake, and then the Magi with the eye in the hand. And what I was getting with these two cards is like moving away from that. And then also with the Magi, creating something new. There's better for you as something they're saying. You deserve better as something I'm getting. It's time to start creating something that's more for you is what I'm getting. So this is the Lumen Threads of Fate Oracle Card Edition box. So hope that helps whoever wanted to see that and screenshot that. So I hope that helped, Lauren. That was the short answer. I don't get it's the right fit. I know that's not what people want to hear usually when they ask about getting back with someone, but it's just what I'm getting. So I hope that helps. Ooh. Yeah, no, they're beautiful. Teresa, sorry, Danny. Have I done the right thing by leaving Danny? I get yes, is the short answer. Anything else? And that was the short answer I was getting, was just yes. And they are clarifying don't go back is something they're saying about that. Of course, just let things play out. Do what you're gonna do, but that's what I'm getting. So I hope that helps, Teresa. And I hope all that heals quickly, but of course at the right speed for you. Q&A here. I'm gonna go back to the Q&A. I got wrapped up in chat, and I'll get back to chat too. Okay, they said answer Trish Moore, so I will answer Trish Moore. Okay, so Trish Moore 22. I'll get to you in a second, huge badonkers. I'm going to answer Trish Moore 22 first here, and then I'll go back to who. Okay, sorry, I don't know why I got also like this. So I'm going to ask for, so angels, help me out here. Okay, let's go. Trish Moore, any messages from Source and the universe? Get Wild is the card that's popping out. This one doesn't seem to come out too frequently. So Get Wild, I don't know if you can see that, but there's the two skulls. I can't remember what those are. It almost looks like the crystal aragonite is on this card as well, which is really interesting. So with Get Wild, what's the message for Trish Moore here? Interestingly enough, like what it reminds me of is there's this book, and I've never read it, and you'll know why once I get around to trying to explain what it is, because I can't remember the title. But it is this book about like, I think it's like the woman who runs with wolves or something like that, and it's kind of like about women and spirituality and stuff. I don't know if that'd be a good book for you. Maybe that would be something worth looking into. And I really hope I'm not botching the title or giving the wrong book, because it sounds, oh, okay. Yeah, because there's Dances with Wolves. It's not Dances with Wolves. It was like The Woman Who Runs with Wolves or something like that. And that's like a book they were showing me in my intuitive visuals as I was sitting with this card as well. With the aragonite on this card, I do get grounding would be important. And so they're also pointing my eyes to the moons. There's like these moon phases on the back of this card. And it's interesting because it almost looks like the moon is missing in a way, because it's just the outline of the moon. So I want to see what else they have to say about this or that. Weirdly enough, like a message I'm getting for you, Trish Moore, is like, don't worry about moon phases right now. Just go for what you want. Like manifest on a full moon. Do whatever you need to do. Because the moon's going to do its thing. Like ride the energy and do what you feel called to do with it. But for some reason for you, what I'm getting is don't feel like you need to adhere to that. What's important is that you're doing what your soul is telling you to do. And by soul telling you to do, that could show up, well, how do they want me to explain that? Like, you know, your intuition, your guides, your soul. You can speak to your soul, you can speak to your guides. And I do think the voice tends to show up, and the voices of my guides tend to show up a little bit differently than the voice of my soul. But it is kind of, I do and don't want to say this, it is kind of like the same thing at the end of the day. You'll kind of get the answers you need either way. The Wildling, so we had Get Wild and now the Wildling. So I don't think I finished that message for you. Or it's just important that you realize whatever these cards have to say for you. So what's up with Get Wild and the Wildling? What's the important message for you with these cards here? Okay, one thing they're saying for you is owning your divine femininity. That's part of the message for you. It's also about allowing yourself to run wild. And it's also about, don't try to control everything as a message, even about yourself. Even if it's, I don't think I can say this on TikTok. Even if it's about R-rated things. And by that, I mean, like, yes, don't hurt people. Or don't, like, do, like, villainous R-rated things. But I think you know where I'm trying to get to, so I apologize that I'm not sure how to express this on TikTok properly. But all that being said, it's kind of just letting yourself be unrestricted. In some ways it's about letting your hair down, but it's more than that. It's almost like about an initiation into your heart and your soul, and who you are, and allowing that to be the crux of everything, as opposed to fitting into a mold or society standards is something they're talking about. I feel like you're kind of meant to run wild for a little bit is something they're talking about. And that does kind of, I do feel like, I want to say that ties into freedom as well and setting yourself free. But in some ways it's about setting yourself free from your mind as well, is something they're talking about, Trish Moore. So I hope that makes sense. Another message for you that's coming through, and this has been coming through for, well, it's been a bit different for each person's come through for, but they're talking about healing with water. Like, this has come through for a few people, but they want me to say it, where it's just like, what would be the best way for you to do it? Like setting intentions with your water before you drink it, or before you take a bath or even shower or anything, especially like a large body of water, like a lake or like a tub, a lake, and asking the water to heal you. And like, this makes no sense. I'm going to say it, but I want to explain this because this is not something I normally say. But the message they said was washing away your sins. That sounds a little too Christian for me, so I'm going to ask for them to explain it, because it's not meant to be religious, and it's not like you have these sins that you need to be cleansed of. That's so not my jam. And honestly, if I were to go on a rant for a second, like, sin doesn't exist is what I get, honestly. The devil doesn't exist, hell doesn't exist, are all things I get that my guides have explicitly said, because I used to be Catholic, I grew up Catholic, and my guides have pretty much explicitly told me all those messages as I checked in with those things. Because, like, what is a sin but, like, just all this judgment? It's like, this is wrong, this is right. Judge, 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 judge. And then you're just in this, like, cocoon of judgment, and you can't do anything. And so it's just not accurate. It's just not how the world works. And God doesn't really judge. The divine doesn't really judge. So it doesn't even make sense to judge things as a sin or not a sin, because, like, humans judge, not God. Sorry. Okay. Personal rants aside. I like that, Caroline Horn. The sins you think you carry, wash them out of your mind. Yeah. And that could be about releasing the past, or things like guilt, or things we hold ourselves to that we don't need to hold ourselves to. Thanks for reining that in. So, okay, let me see what they have to say, because I didn't actually go in with what they said that message was. I just, like, went on a rant, so I apologize. Maybe someone needed to hear that. Anyways. Okay. Washing away the sins with the water. What's that about? Okay, it's about washing away the things it's kind of like what, I'm so sorry, I forgot your username, but that was really good. It's kind of about washing away the things you think you've done wrong, to yourself, to your others, and like self-blame or self-punishment even. And where you punish yourself for what you think you've done wrong. And the Fool, happy and free, wild and free, taking leaps of faith, not tied down to anything. He's just doing what he wants. I would allow yourself to be what you want to be and do what you want to do. And I hope any of those messages helped you, Trish Moore. I'm sensing a theme with all this. And even like take risk with the Fool is popping out, which is interesting. So there might be a leap of faith you need to take, or I'm getting something like taking a risk with yourself, with like things you tell yourself or things you allow you to do. But even in the world, there's a risk you want to take with the Fool and this take risk card coming out. I would trust that you're protected as you take any risks you want to take. And of course, don't be dumb. You're not dumb, Trish Moore. You're actually really freaking smart, is what they said. But that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm just gonna, I don't know. It doesn't mean sell your house and dump it all into a poo coin and crypto, if any of you are familiar with any of that. But it does mean like if you've been wanting to take a class or change your career, start looking into it, if that makes sense, as examples. I hope that helps, Trish Moore. I hope any of that resonated and made sense for you. Someone was taken care of. Thanks for taking care of whoever needed taken care of. Thank you guys. By the way, I want to give a shout out to the mods since so many of y'all are here. Moderators are awesome. They always really help out, and they really help this make a smooth process for me. And I really think they help make the chat more fun too. So good. Awesome. Glad to hear it, Trish Moore. So be sure to show some love to the mods. They really do their best to make this a great environment for everybody. Oh, Stephanique's here. Hey, Stephanique. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Sorry, that ya sounded weird when it came out of my mouth. But anyways. Oh, Destiny. Answer. Am I starting to be able to see auras? Yeah. That'll slowly develop is what I'm getting. It was really interesting. I want to tell this story because I thought it was really fascinating to me. But I was hanging out. What's the best way for me to tell this story? Okay, I was hanging out with this person that I'm seeing and their group of friends, and one of their friends can see auras, interestingly enough. And it was, I don't know if it was just being around someone who had that gift or being around that energy, but I looked over at someone and all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, I can see, like I was, and I have seen, I've sort of seen auras before. I don't know if it's more I just see their energy, but I feel like that's something that I was doing. But this was more blatant. Like I saw it and it was like this layer of the aura and then this layer of the aura and then there was like a color. I'm like, that's really interesting because that was more how this other person that was their friend said it. Oh, thank you, Nebula Love and Light. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. So I don't know. Why I wanted to tell that story, but short answer, yes, for you. And I don't know, because normally, like, I don't know. Hope that was an interesting story, at least. But yes, keep working on it, and keep practicing, because those things develop over time too. And that'd be a really cool way to read people too, if you could see their aura and start to either channel the information of what it meant or intuitively do that. So I don't know. Hey, Ruda, good to see you. Huge Bedonkers, are you still here? I just remembered. I was going to get to you. You have a good day, Prince Priestess. I hope, yeah, you take care of business. I love y'all. I love you too. Okay, Huge Bedonkers is here. Okay, I'm going to answer Ruda. I'm literally going to write down to answer you. Cool. I'll just, and then we'll do that. So for Ruda, about spiritual journey, 6 of Wands coming out here. I want to shuffle these cards. They're saying this is the card, so I think I just need to not be self-conscious when the same card starts coming out. But I'll shuffle it soon if they guide me to anyways. 6 of Wands popping out here. One thing they're saying for you is heading to a higher path. They just kind of show this guy on the horse riding up this like winding path up to, it was almost like up a mountain, but it was up to a higher plane, you could say. You are being ascended is one thing they're saying for you. There also is a lot of angelic frequency around you, something they want to say, Ruda. I do get you're tapping into that more, a good thing, the angelic energies and frequencies. Also, like, I feel like they're guiding you with your art. I know you do art, so I know that's just one thing they wanted to say really quickly about your art. So anything else that would be for your highest good to know about your spiritual journey? This card, surrender. This is what you need more of with your spiritual journey. Surrender. Also, like, just trusting the divine. Also a message of allowing fate to take its course. So fate can be seen as a dance with the divine. And I know there's a million different takes on fate. Like, you can improve your future. You can improve things for the highest good. You can manifest that things get better instantly, depending on what would be highest and best to take place, as seen from a source perspective, I guess you could say. As source is everything and is all-knowing, infinitely intelligent, infinitely wise, of course, unconditionally loving. All that being said, really the word I get with this is trust with surrender. And of course, like, trust and surrender go hand in hand. If you trust and let the universe take you to where you're supposed to go with your journey, and definitely try not to force things in a certain direction, there's a lot more abundance for you than you realize. And this is spiritual abundance. It can be physical as well. I think abundance can be all of it. It doesn't have to be money or just spirituality. It can be all of it. But they did indicate this was more of like a spiritual abundance, more connection. If you want better, more spiritual people in your life, better people around you, or higher quality relationships. Anything else that they want to mention about this? More of your gifts coming online. Doing your best to not force things in a certain direction would be really good for you. Eight of Cups. So I'm getting inner turmoil with this card, or like the words I'm getting, interestingly enough. So I want to see what this Eight of Cups is about here. So one thing I'm getting for you is you're about to embark on something that was a lot longer than you realized. This is about like more of a self-growth journey is what I'm talking. But if you're willing to kind of look deep within yourself at this time, and okay, one thing you might want to look into or write down and look into is like a womb healing, interestingly enough, or and I don't think it's physical. I think it's more energetic, because there are certain, I haven't encountered this in a long time, but there's this concept in spiritual and certain, like with certain healers we'll talk about, of like you just energetically clearing the womb or healing it is something they're talking about. I don't know. That's just something they wanted me to say to you for some reason. And maybe that's something that will help you energetically if you look into that, or just send Reiki there, or find a practitioner who's familiar with that. Anyways, where are we going with this? That was just a side message that came through for you. So Eight of Cups, where are you going with your spiritual journey? General messages about spiritual journey. Okay, looking deep inside of yourself and healing the things that you've been neglecting is what they're talking about, and reorienting yourself to a new paradigm that the universe has been moving you to slowly, which is kind of like out of the void and into the light, you could say. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? So going within, healing the things that, because I got lost with the womb thing, with what I was saying before, and I picked up where I left off, but I don't remember what I was saying before. So I'm just going to see where they want to go to next anyways. Five of Swords here. I'm getting the word defeat with this card, interestingly enough. One message I get for you is you might think you're defeated, but you're not. I also get this message for you of try to be really discerning regarding the people you talk to, or with the people you talk to. Are they ready to hear what you have to say? Are they the right people to be talking to? It's kind of just, I don't like this message, but it's a reminder, like, sometimes not everyone does have your best interests at heart. And I feel like it's going to be very blatant. I think if you're questioning it, and if you're like, oh, does my husband dislike me? No, that's not it. This card is about other things, honestly. It's also, what they're saying is like, you don't feel like you have to miss out in order for other people to gain, is something they're saying for you. Don't feel like you need to be less so other people can be more. Don't feel like you need to hold yourself back so other people can succeed. It's okay for you to be in the spotlight. It's okay for you to win, is what they're talking about. But there is a message just to stop neglecting yourself if you feel like you are, like your body and what your body needs, your spiritual needs. And obviously, I get that you're super cool. So what else is important for you to know about your spiritual journey before we move on here? One thing that they're recommending for you is just some type of mantra and intention. What they said is like, ask for the light to enter your life. And it reminds me of, there was this Lee Harris. Lee Harris is a channeler that I like. I like a lot of his work. And this was like years ago, and I just haven't heard him say it since, honestly. But he used to like have this mantra like 3 years ago maybe that he'd purport, where it was like, I invite the light into my life. But for some reason, like that popped in, like the message they were saying was something similar. Like, I ask for the light to enter my life. I ask for the light to be shed on everything that's going on in my life. I ask for the light to enter me. And it's kind of more just like inviting the oneness of light into your life, if that makes sense as a phrase. For some reason, I feel like that's kind of what you need. And it's almost something that's meant to move things through you so that you can release and embody more of who you are. Because I feel like you're ready for a higher journey, which is kind of goes back to the message that came through with the Six of Wands, like where they're taking you to a higher place and ascending to a higher place. I'd also let the angels help you. I'd be asking for angelic support. You are on the right track, by the way. It's just sometimes if things go sideways spiritually, it's just to teach you something, and it's temporary. So if anything does that or has done that, don't worry about that. So I hope that helps and makes sense, Ruda, so far. So anything else for you? Two of Wands came out, and they just said find balance. For you, Ruda, is something they said, which would be good. Okay, huge bedonkers. I know I promised I would do a reading, and then I did other people's readings, so I apologize. Good afternoon, Be Divine. Good to see you. Oh my gosh, we have so many moderators today. I love it. I love seeing you guys here. You're welcome, Ruda. You're on the right track, by the way. And also keep being you. So you said you felt really lost, so I want to just pull some cards for you. Queen of Wands. Being assertive is what I get with this card first and foremost. There is a message like you do have good things coming. Just hang in there. I would also be assertive with what you want, whether that's with your parents or with if you need to be assertive with other people in your life. It's kind of a card about being bold with what you go for, essentially. And I know I've been getting this collectively and for a lot of people, but I'm going to say it because it's coming through again. And who am I to deny someone a message that's coming through? That's for the highest good for me to say. But positive turnarounds are words, and I might be saying that a bit for the next month, is what they said on these lives and then readings, depending on the situation. But you do have positive turnarounds coming through. This Mercury in retrograde has been a little bit weird for you, I get, but you're gonna step out of it. One thing that's been happening for you is you've been in a huge clearing phase, like especially if you've been exploring spiritual stuff at all or going through any type of like spiritual, like figuring out who you are spiritually or going through down any type of spiritual path. Sometimes there's a bit of a clearing as that comes in or before that comes in fully, if that makes sense. Because I really feel like you're about to be handed like one of the visuals they're showing me is you being handed all these gold, like these gold coins, like you're about to be handed all this gold, and that represents a few different things. That represents wisdom. That's something that's closer to enlightenment is the word they're giving me as well, like wisdom, enlightenment, higher abundance, knowing who you are, knowing what your purpose is. But you do have to take the journey one step at a time. And if you feel called to do anything, even if it seems silly, even if it's a yoga class or it's even if you just get the weird inspiration to watch SpongeBob, and hopefully this is a message that doesn't mess with you in some way and it makes sense to you. Sometimes those are the things you need to do to lead you to the right place. Like sometimes like the first thing you need to do isn't the thing you think you need to do, if that makes sense. So trust your intuition on what you feel inspired to do, I guess. And that kind of feels like an Abraham Hicks thing, like taking inspired action, I think is like what they're about, right? I could be wrong, sorry. But that's some of like the first things coming through for you. And the Empress is coming out, which is about abundance, interestingly enough. And it's one of the messages they're showing me is opening your eyes to the possibilities. There's a lot of possibility to you in what you can do. And sometimes it's not about what you should be doing. Sometimes it's about what's possible for you. What's possible for you to create. What's possible for you in relationships. Let's see here. One of the things it reminds me of almost is I talk about it relatively frequently, but there's a modality called access consciousness, And it's difficult to explain. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's ways I can explain it. But one of the things they talk about doing is asking this question: what else is possible? And when you ask what else is possible, you're opening the doorways for the universe to show you other possibilities. So from the highest levels, something's happening, or like you're not sure what's going on, or something, even if something really cool happens, you're like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. What else is possible? Like, what other amazing possibilities are there? But that'd be a great question to ask for yourself. Not for you to answer, but for you to ask in a way where the universe manifests the answer of what's possible. Or if you're just like, okay, what else is, maybe you've been single or for a while, or something isn't going right, and you're just like, what else is possible in love? And that could be like, if you're in a relationship, that relationship, like all of a sudden, like another possibility opens up and you guys communicate better, or something cool happens. Or it could be if you're single, like, so another possibility opens up that's really cool. So for some reason, like, that question is like a tool you might consider using for a time. I wouldn't get obsessed with it unless you want to, unless it feels right. But it's like, okay, what else is possible for me? Like, I've lived my whole life like this. Or even if you encounter a story in your head about yourself, like, like what would be a good example here? Maybe you're someone who's just like, you think you're not lucky, that you think you're not lucky. But what if you took that and you're like, okay, that's a story I have, but what else is possible? What else is possible for me? What if I can be lucky? What would it take for luck to show up for me, or for me to be lucky, if that makes sense? Or it's like, maybe you're just like, you feel lost right now. What else is possible? What else is possible to show up for you from that lostness? Or just even right now in general, that could help that. So sorry, it's another tool that's coming up for you. They're showing me a cat, and there is a cat on the Queen of Wands. Thankfully I found it again. So the black cat on the Queen of Wands can represent good luck, funny enough. And the sunflower represents a positive turnaround. So if you need a sign, if the universe starts showing you sunflowers, it represents positive turnaround, like things are going to turn around for the better. But what is the cat about? So they showed me a lot of stuff. So they showed me the cat, and then it went to Egypt, and you know how cats link to Egypt, and then they kind of went to ancestral clearing. And part of what you're going through is like an ancestral clearing. It's not all yours. So don't get wrapped up in any stories of like, oh, there's something wrong with me, is something they're saying for you as well. They give me a weird line, like, you need a new phase, which is interesting to me. What does that even mean? I would also just like manifest the new for yourself. Like, I would ask for the new, ask the new to show up for you, interestingly enough, and see what starts to manifest. Because it's time to start to come out of some of that old stuff and manifest abundance for yourself. And abundance could literally be, and it could be like friendships and amazing relationships. It can be money. It could be spirituality and an amazing spiritual, connection and spiritual gifts. It could be all of it. Why limit it? But right now it's time to head into the new. So I hope that helps. Huge Bedunkers was the username. I want to pull one more card for you, actually. We have self-love, which makes sense. They're also bringing self-care and the word self-care into this as well. Now is a huge time to like look at yourself, look in the mirror, or just be with yourself and ask, what do you need? And then when you get an answer, if you feel like you know what you need, do that. Like, do that for yourself. Because maybe you just need, I don't know, if you need food, give yourself food. If you need companionship, go talk to someone or text a friend or go pet a dog. I don't know. But it's more about moving the energy towards you loving yourself by giving yourself what you need when you know what you need. And also, as you take care of yourself more with self-care, you get more confident, is something they're saying as well. Because you're showing yourself you love yourself. Which is not a message I typically bring through, but that's what they're saying. So for you, that's what they're saying. Like, as you take care of yourself, you show yourself you love yourself, you build confidence. And also when you take care of yourself properly, with exercise, with other things, like that can build confidence as well, because you're just feeling better about yourself. And trust me, I need to exercise more. So I'm not trying to call anyone out. But I hope that helps. And with the peacock here, don't be afraid to be yourself. And speak truth is right behind that as well, which really ties in with being yourself. Don't be afraid to really let it shine. There's more acceptance for you than you realize. Sometimes we have to get out of the stories of where we weren't accepted in the past, is something they're talking about, and find the people that are really for us. And trust us, that can happen. Trust me, that can happen. Whatever. Speak truth. There's things that are inside you that need to come out, whether it's artistic expression or things you need to tell people. It's time to start letting those things out, or maybe after Mercury retrograde. If it's artistic expression, I do it now. Whatever you feel called to. But the main thing they said is there's things inside of you that need to come out. Allow yourself to express yourself, even if it's like pains. Allow yourself to like write it, journal it down, and get it out of you. Allow it to shift as you do that, and then just recycle it, and you're getting rid of it. You're getting it out of you, getting rid of it, allowing it to process and move on, so you can get rid of any stuck emotion and any stories regarding it. There's also a lot of truth coming in for you as a message they're giving me, where you see yourself more clearly in the world around you, which is a good thing. Okay, that's a positive thing. Okay, that's it. That's what I'm getting for you. I hope that helped. Hope that had anything you needed to hear. And I'm going to move on to the next question here. And I hope things turn around for you in a positive way, of course. They will. So, next question here. Okay, they want me to do Texas Jess. And then we'll move to, how are you, Brandon? I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing? Water break, thank you. Okay, that was so funny. I just asked myself, what do I need right now? And my guides were like, you need to pull a card for Texas Jess. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. Okay, they're everywhere, so give me 1 second. Oh, there's this whole stack of cards over here. Okay, I'm going to shuffle for a second. It's top card right now. Okay. Accepting yourself. Sacred sexuality is the card coming out here. I got the words accepting yourself. This seems like really similar to the last message I was just talking about, but allowing yourself to be who you are is something I'm talking about if you feel like you've had any trouble with that. Also, I would do a sacral chakra clearing, and I wouldn't be freaking out about it months later. It's something that's showing up for me. So sorry, got distracted. But I would do a sacral chakra clearing is something they're talking about, and just kind of balancing your emotional worlds. And it's not something I would freak out about 3 months later, where like you're doing it over and over and over and over again. You're like, oh, did I get it? Maybe give yourself a month to just tackle that, and I don't know, sit with, do whatever you do for that. If you have anything, like it could even just be like a Reiki video on YouTube for balancing the sacral chakra. That could work. Or, orange calcite. For some reason, they also gave me a visual of you sitting with amethyst and like meditating with that. Like, that seems like it's a good crystal right now for people. But for you, that might be something I do as well. First, I feel like that would help you understand like things that are going on for you as well, and help bring some clarity, as well as like a green crystal that's been coming through. That came through for one other person, at least, was like amethyst and some type of green crystal. And that's something, I don't know, for some reason, they like don't want me to get into that for some reason. Anyways, soul work coming out for you. That's kind of what this next phase is about, is like cleaning some soul work up is what they're talking about. Like anything difficult in your life has been teaching you something, is something they want to say first and foremost. Also, with the B on here, you're going to be busy is something they're talking about, like in this next little phase, just with like wrapping things up, taking care of things, taking care of people maybe. But on the other side of the soul work, like there's this rainbow in the background, is the hope and healing you've been looking for. And a better phase is something they're talking about as well. Like sometimes you're in a certain phase or you're kind of living life and you're just like, is this as good as it gets? And they want to say, no, it's not as good as it gets. Things do get better if you're willing to put in the work to get there, which you are. I get, honestly. They're like, you don't shirk your duty for you, Texas Jess. So what else is important for you to know as far as general readings right now? Movement. Are you moving? I think you've asked about moving. I can't remember. Oh, let's just see what they say. One thing they want to say in general is that the universe is moving you in the right directions. You really don't have anything to fear in this next phase either. It's kind of like the pathway is being built for you. It's like the road ahead is under construction. So you can see the path, but it's like, in some ways it's not ready yet is one thing they're talking about. Because they're just showing like angels and spirit guides and Ganesha, like building the path ahead for you. Like there's the path that you're supposed to go down, or that you're going to be going down, but there's like, it's kind of roped off and under construction. So hopefully that makes sense. Just know it's taken care of is the main message. Anything else with that would be important for you to know? Letting things develop, of course, at their own pace. Forcing things, not a good idea right now. I don't know if it really ever is, but even if it's like forcing people to get on the same viewpoint as you, or forcing people to get behind you, I don't think it's going to work for you or anyone else at this time. But gentleness really moves mountains is what they're talking about when you're dealing with others, when you're dealing with yourself. Because sometimes gentleness is all you need to change things. And it kind of reminds me of, sorry, there's an analogy I wanted to use and I don't think they want me to use it. I'll say it because I'll say it anyways. But you know slime or like goo, like people will make that slime and it's like green. It's like a science thing. And if you hit it really hard and slap it, it like really resists, and you hit a lot of resistance, and you just can't. It's almost like hitting concrete. But if you're gentle and you go really slow, you can kind of get into the goo, which sounded really probably weird if you just tuned in right when I said that. But you know, it's kind of that, like, you can do what you need to do if you're gentle, but if you try to force it and like slap into the slime, it reminds me of Harry Potter when like they're trying to go to Hogwarts and they try to, was it 9 3/4? They're trying to go to Hogwarts and like there's that wall that they're supposed to run through, but then like they actually run into the wall and it's actually a wall and they're like, oh my God. It kind of reminds me of that. Like trying to force it is like running into the wall that's not the right wall at Hogwarts. And then being gentle is like you just walk into the right wall and you're good. So anyways, I'm going to pull one more card for you. Oh my God, it came through again. I need to shuffle these. This must be in like the collective energy with the 6 of Wands coming out here. And you always get the Empress too, and that's popping out. Again, I'm going to shuffle these and get you another card, but we'll just see the messages here. 6 of Wands is normally 10 of Cups is everything you want in life, but the words I'm getting with this are everything you want in life. I feel like being gentle with things does help to bring that in. But the moves you're planning on making are going to bring through a lot more of what you want, is something they're saying as well. 6 of Wands is also a card of victory. And I get the words like what you're here for. So what's that about? So there's a lot of things you're here for, Texas Jess, that you haven't activated yet. And that's one thing they want to say is like, as you kind of go through these next few years, like those are going to be coming online where something you're passionate about comes in for you. 6 of Swords. 6 of Wands and 6 of Swords is good, actually. 6 of Swords is life improvements, gradual improvements. It's also leaving choppy waters and going to calmer waters. The words I get with this are nothing to fear as well. This can indicate travel as well in the boats with the 6 of Swords. But a lot of this is just verifying you're headed in the right direction, honestly. And there's also like a weird message, like don't even worry about the waters right now. The universe knows the perfect waters to get you to. And sometimes you have to go through choppy waters to get to the perfect fishing spot. But once you're there, it's calm and you have abundance. You know, you have all the fish you're catching and stuff. So weird metaphor. Oh my gosh, one more. Sorry. I'm not sighing because of you. I think sometimes I feel pressure to get to the next reading if I take a while. So I really don't mind doing the reading. So I apologize for that sigh. It wasn't about you. Power coming out here. Owning your divine worth are the words they're giving me with this card. You're meant for so much more. This phrase doesn't make sense. I'm going to say it. You're meant for so much more than you give yourself credit for. I do feel like there's more to you than you realize. like I would own your power spiritually though, is what they're talking about. And realize you are here for something and you do serve a greater purpose is something they're talking about. And even if that hasn't shown up as much as you'd want or all the way yet, it is coming where you're owning your power in your purpose, things lining up, is something they're talking about. So anything else? There is a rabbit's foot on here, which symbolizes good luck. Or it's either a rabbit's foot or it's a chili pepper. But I think it's supposed to be a rabbit's foot right there where my finger is. Which does symbolize good luck. And as you stand up for yourself, by the way, if you need to, you have a lot of luck surrounding you to help you with that. And with that, interestingly enough. And it's almost like your power opens doorways for you. I hope that made any sense, Texas Jess. That seemed like it was all over the place, but hopefully you get it. Anything else for you? I would also take time to ground and do any type of grounding. That would be helpful for you as well. So I hope that helps, Texas Jess, as a general reading. Makes sense. Thank you. You're welcome. Let's see what they want me to do next. It feels very quiet. Mo can do it. Which of my clairs are the strongest? Right now, what I get is clairsentience, which is energy sensitivity, honestly. Clairvoyance would be second runner-up is what I'm getting, which is, that's like visions, intuitive visuals, is like seeing is what I get. And I'm curious if clairvoyance ties in with like seeing things in your intuitive visuals, even with your eyes open, which is difficult to describe to people. You can channel. That's something that takes work. I feel like I've say that to a lot of people, but if that's it makes sense. A lot of people, if not everyone, can channel. Honestly, some people and sometimes that takes work to uncover. But those are like the strongest clairs I'm getting for you now. But as far as like what has the most potential or what would be highest and best for you to focus on, honestly, and focusing on your energy sensitivity, the clairsentience would be huge for you because that does open up everything else. It opens you up more. I guess it opens your chakras up more. It opens you up more to your intuition and to your awareness. And from there, you can take all of your gifts to wherever you want is pretty much what I'm getting, which is cool. So even like playing with crystals, building crystal grids to work with the energy sensitivity, energy work of any sort, whether it's Reiki or even just working with the violet flame, or angelic light, whatever you gravitate towards would be great because then you can experience the different energies and you can feel. Explaining feeling energy is really interesting because the words are interesting, but I guess like the way I kind of describe it is like there's different textures to different energies. There's different like viscosity to certain energies. Some of them are not thick in a bad way, but some of them are really concentrated or thick, and some of them are very fluid and fast, and some of them feel like light and like white light, and some of them, I don't know. But playing with that really can help to open you up further and expand your awareness is something they're talking about. I would also play with like sitting with your chakras and seeing what you get. Like literally just sit, put your awareness on one of your chakras and just like, what do you get? Like, what do you feel with that chakra? And a shortcut to anyone who's curious to feeling your chakras, or if you feel like you don't feel your chakras, is just one thing I used to do was like if I was like, oh, I know like kind of where the root chakra is, but I'd be like, okay, I have to feel my root chakra. I have to feel where it is. Thank you so much. And then like it would kind of like get highlighted, or it'd be very visceral is not the right word. Very vivid. I'd feel very clearly. I'd feel it would kind of like pop. It's like, here I am. And like you can kind of feel where, like right now I feel it very strongly. It almost feels like it's right above my, I can't remember the bone names. Oh my gosh, not hip bones, but that whole thing that, sorry. Anyways, that's another thing they wanted me to share with you. For some reason, Mo can do it. Anything else that would be important for you to know? Anything you can do to practice your intuition would be good, whether it's pulling cards for yourself, making magic and doing things that require intuition, like building crystal grids can be a really intuitive exercise because you kind of like, oh, I feel like this goes here, or you'll get the message that this crystal goes there, or I think you know what I mean. But I hope that helps. Caroline Horn 76 asked, is channeling in my future? Am I already doing it? Yes, and sort of are the answers I get to that. So is channeling in your future? Yes. Are you already doing it? Sort of. You don't always realize when you're doing it is something I'm getting, which is common for people who channel, but it's common for people who channel or who have that gift who haven't really like either heard of it before or haven't really honed it in. Is something that they're talking about. Like if you're in conversation and you just know something, or something just came out of your mouth and you're like, how did I know that? Or how did that work? Things like that, kind of. And there is this, but practice it. I would definitely do like some type of journal, like automatic writing kind of practice. Lee Harris is another channeler you might be familiar. I can't remember, was it you who commented that like, oh, Lee Harris is awesome, or someone else? I think I saw that really briefly before I was doing something. But he does have this audio guide, and I recommend this resource when they tell me to, but it's like how to channel and why, and it's like this 3-hour thing, just like these audio recordings. It's like $33 on his website, no affiliation, leahharrisenergy.com, and it's not how I learned to channel. I was already channeling and I went through it and I liked what he had to say, or a lot of what he had to say, I should say. So it's worth looking into if you want to just kind of go into that. But one of the things that he talks about for expanding channeling is doing automatic writing, like with some type of consistency. What he recommends, he likes to go like, what does my soul want to tell me? Write that. And then just go with what's coming through, like what words come to you, what's coming to you. And I'll say it in case anyone else needs to hear it, but automatic writing can show up in a couple different ways. It can show up where it's like literally like the pen is moving on its own. Typically for me, it can be a combination. Like I'll hear the words, like they'll tell me a sentence, I'll write it down. They'll tell me a sentence, I'll write it down. Or they'll give me a word, I write the word. They give me a word, I write it. And sometimes it happens at the same time where like they're telling me the words and they're writing it through me. And then sometimes, well, a lot of the times, like they'll also give me visuals that go along with it. So they'll be giving me the words, and then they'll like, it'll either like, sometimes they give me angels that like act out the words, like almost like interpretive dance or something. It's really funny. There's like other things that go along with it, I guess you could say. So that can show up a number of different ways as far as automatic writing or channeled writing. It's just, for some reason, I wanted to just give a bit of what that can look like, just so you have a bit of a barometer, and don't limit it to that. I'm sure there's other ways automatic writing and channeling can show up for people. But just sitting down and like asking like, okay, I asked to channel what would be highest and best for me to channel, of highest infinite wisdom, highest unconditional love, bringing through the highest and best fully accurate information for me to channel. Thank you so much. And it's one thing that it's more about just practicing showing up and then allowing the universe to guide you from there, if that makes sense. Because the universe is your teacher with all of it, or at least that's how it was for me, was I didn't really have one teacher or any explicit one teacher for a super long period of time at all with channeling. It was kind of like the universe led me to a lot of different events and people and experiences and energy work modalities. And the universe was my teacher throughout all of it, or that got me to where I am at and will get me to where I'm going, I guess you could say. But the universe was really and my guides were really the angels and source were really my teacher with all of it, really, is what I'd say. So don't get hung up on what one person says. Anyways, I hope that helps. Soul oneness. I'm learning a lot just listening to you. Thank you. Awesome. You're welcome. I'm grateful to hear it. Yeah, and I think that's something that is good about this is it's not just I can't even say it. What would be best for me to say? I think like one of my original okay, sorry. I keep going to say something and they're like, no, not quite. So give me 1 second to like get clear on what I want to say before I say it. one thing I want to do is to allow this to be something that helps everyone who shows up. Not just the individuals I'm channeling for or doing readings for, if that makes sense. I kind of want to write that down. I think I'm going to write that one down. Because I'm curious if there's an adjustment I could make that could make it more like that, but maybe not. Maybe I just need to keep doing this. I think they've tended to be that, at least, perhaps just energetically, but I might see if there's a way to adjust the lives in a way where that's more blatantly a part of it, you know? Sorry, I'm just writing this down. Anyways, it seems important. Brandon, you have helped us so much. Thank you, Brandon. Oh, you're welcome. That means a lot. I'm really grateful that this is of value to you and it helps you guys, and that means the world to me that this is effective and helpful and doing something that's for the highest good and has an impact. So if people listen, they can hear, they can get their message from the cards you pull, at least for me. Totally. I could see that. We gain so much in your way now. Okay. I mean, I can keep doing it in this way too. Oh, thank you, Elephant Whispers. For real, you have no idea. Only the universe will ever be able to repay you. Oh, you guys. I do my best, and I do my best to pray that this is always the highest and best it can be for everyone. So thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Miss Ace, yeah, absolutely. Let's do a relationship reading for you. Okay, Ask Body is the first card coming out, interestingly enough, for you. This is for your relationship, and I think it's also for your body directly. One message they have for you is your body already feels what you need, and they're talking about body whispering. You know what? They want me to recommend this book for you, and I haven't read it. I don't even know if it's launched yet, but one of the people who does Access Consciousness, that modality I referenced earlier in the live, if you're still, I don't know who's still here from then. I know Elephant Whispers, I saw you. But he has this book coming out about body whispering, and I wish I remembered the title, but his other book I'll recommend sometimes for specific people. It's not a blanket recommendation, but Being You, Changing the World Is Now the Time by Dr. Dane Heer, Dainheer. He has a new one coming out about body whispering, and I'm curious if you get something really good out of it. Because it talks about, he's someone who does a lot of consciousness work with people and I guess you could say healing work, but he does a lot of body whispering to do that. And so I'm curious if that would help you get into that and see what your body needs. But your body can also feel what's going on with relationships, if that makes sense. Whether that's energetically, like you're like as an empathic thing, you're picking up on what's going on with them. Like for instance, like there'd be certain conversations, maybe this isn't a great example, but I'll say it. But I remember I was in the car with someone I was dating at the time, my ex, and for some reason she was playing back a voicemail from her ex, but from before she and I dated. And like there was like a certain point where like he was talking and it was normal, and then like he was started to say a certain thing, and like my lower three chakras started to feel like pick up as like a weird thing, which was more like it was what I was feeling his chakras were doing, and it was more like it was almost like he was lying about something or wasn't being forthright about his intentions. It was just a way that was showing up. And I'll also say this too, because I think it's an interesting example, but I don't even want to get into it too much, but there's certain people just on TikTok and out there who kind of talk about manifesting a specific person, if that makes sense. And it doesn't always sit right with me, and maybe there's a spin they have on it where it makes sense to them and it's of the highest light and for the highest good. But the things I've encountered about it just never really sat right with me and my guides and my intuition, honestly, and what's worked for me. But that being said, I'm not here to bash on anyone or say they're wrong. But what was important was there was a certain energy I got from that just didn't feel right. Like my stomach felt weird when it was about like manifesting a really specific person, no matter what. And then like I was on the phone with an ex. This was actually the same person that I'd broken up with, but it was late. It was like way later. And like we were talking, and all of a sudden, like while we were talking, I had that same weird feeling in my stomach of like, oh, manifesting a specific person. I'm like, oh, is this what she's doing right now? So like your body, like empathically and energetically, can like pick up on that stuff if you tune in and kind of pay attention, especially if you really identify as an empath. And you, thank you for the hand hearts, Caroline. But oh, thanks, Be Divine. But you can do that with your relationships, and you can do that with, and I'll get to like what I'm getting specifically as well, but you can do that with your health as well. Like, what does my body need to heal? Or like when you're doing body whispering, for me, like you and other people, it depends on how you work. Like you can talk to a part of your body and it will talk back, and it's very similar to channeling, if not the same. Because it's like you're talking to the conscious. I don't know how to say it. But for other people, it might just be like you tune in and like you get a feeling, or you feel like, if not the same. Because it's like you're talking to the conscious. I don't know how to say it. But for other people, it might just be like you tune in and like you get a feeling, or you feel like your body needs this, or something like that. That's probably why that book was recommended. Okay. Besides that, let's get to what would be best for me to get to. I'm gonna pull a card for the like relationship reading. Okay, this card is very popular today, soul work. This is more about relationships in general, because what I heard is this is what your relationships are leading you through. And I'm getting everything is as it's supposed to be, if that makes sense. Like if something needs to end, I'm getting like let things end that need to end. I think this is going to be different than you think it's going to mean when I say it, but there is a new adventure coming in for you. But what they said is there's a new adventure coming in for her, and this is for Miss Ace. There's a new adventure coming in for you, but it's not going to be what they think it is when we say that. So I don't know. Hopefully that even makes sense, but that's something that's kind of happening for you. But all of this is culminating into you gaining a lot of wisdom as something they're talking about first and foremost. So really trust yourself and your body about like the choices you feel called to make in any relationship, in that relationship. I think you're seeing someone, if I remember correctly. So anything else that would be for your highest good about this? So with Seven of Wands, what I get is defend your position. So what this is about is like standing your ground in relationships and not allowing yourself to be steamrolled. I get you might have done that in the past, or what they said is you have done that in the past. What I get is you've done that in the past. So it's definitely time to stop doing that if you feel like you haven't stopped doing that. Because one thing they're also saying is you're worthy of a good relationship. I would manifest it, honestly, whether it's with someone you're already seeing or whether it's something you want to bring in for you in the future. And as you start putting that intention out there, see how things shift. Another thing that might help you, and for some reason this has been coming through more recently as a recommendation for people as well, and I don't know why, but a recommendation they also have for you that showed up in my intuitive visuals, and I said this in the past couple lives, and there's no affiliation, but twistedsage.com, they make really cool energy tools. Like they make this guy. This is like one of their tools. It's like a pyramid. It is obviously a pyramid, but it kind of anchors certain energetic templates and does really good energy work for the highest good. This is the Ascension Grid Pyramid. That's not the one I was going to recommend. I was actually going to recommend, they have these generators, and it was a harmony generator is one of them. And one thing that was interesting that I noticed when I got that, because I got it initially a few years ago, or like a couple years ago, because I was working at Whole Foods, and I do this full time now, which is honestly one of the biggest blessings of my life so far, or something I really appreciate. But when I was at Whole Foods, I just needed something with the energies to help, just because, sometimes when you're around a lot of spiritual people, like you're used to people having a certain level of energetics, but it's not really a free-for-all. Of course, you're having the experiences you need to have, you're meeting the person you need to meet. And I found like a lot of times when I get a job, everything just kind of like changes around the personnel anyways. I don't know if it's just because me and the universe needed certain people around me or or vice versa. But that's something I really found would happen whenever I got a new job. But all that being said, I got the harmony generator to kind of help with the energetics at work, because there's just so many people, and like not all of them are like people I want to be around necessarily, just because of the energies, or not that I don't like them. It's just like it's difficult as a sensitive person to be around the wrong people, if that makes sense, or people that aren't at a certain vibe. But what I noticed is when I got the harmony generator, all of a sudden people I just did not click with at all. It was like suddenly there was some type of common ground. Like people I would normally avoid, it was like we ended up talking, and there was like, oh, like we can really connect on this point. And it's like, yeah, maybe I'm like, I don't necessarily divulge like, oh yeah, I don't know. It was like somehow we'd have like a spiritual conversation, and maybe I wasn't like totally unveiling like, yeah, I'm a channeler and I channel my guides and the angels have this message for you. But maybe like they, unbeknownst, or maybe at some level they knew, like I would just channel messages through for them, like just through the conversation, or we'd start talking about holistic healing, when before like I would just hear them complaining about their husband like for 2 hours in the break room, and I'd be like, I don't want to talk to you. But then suddenly like there's more harmony. And so for some reason that's a recommendation for you, to potentially help to manifest more harmony, but also does that work to bring more harmony, and I suppose you could say love around. And it does start out, I don't know, it could yield really good results. I don't know. For you, I feel like it would yield really good manifestations early on, but then it would, do the work for however long you had it around, at least subtly. But I think it gets more than subtle as you get more aware of this stuff and sensitive, if that makes sense. New gift. Oh, thanks for the gift. Are you wearing it now? No. So the generator is like this big sphere. I'll show you guys really quickly. This is not the harmony generator. This is their golden fire generator. Give me 1 second to get this crystal out of it. I'll just keep the crystal in it because I can't get it out. So it's this. It's like they have these tensor rings is what these are, and they kind of weld them together at certain points and make this sphere, and it kind of creates this field in every direction for the highest good, is more what this looks like. So that's... Cool. So that's what that looks like. I am wearing Twisted Sage pendants too. I wear those, but Becca Boo, is D the person for me? I'm getting no, sorry. Yeah, if you go to twistedsage.com and look up their products, there's like one of the pages is generators, and that's where those are, if you feel called to it. Again, no affiliation. I just like their tools. Thank you for the water recommendation, Divinely Protected. I appreciate it. Yeah. Bella Godinez, my best friend V and I going to be good again. I do get that will heal is one thing I'm getting for you. First and foremost, might take some time. I wouldn't force it or rush it. But that's something I'm getting for you, if that makes sense. Okay, sorry. Michelle's via adulting asks, will I marry Dean? I'm getting no. You can allow it to play out and see if that's wrong somehow, but I'm getting no. But it's okay to let that play out. I hope that helps. Sometimes I hesitate to give those hard and fast answers, but it's what I was getting. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Q&A and see what they want me to answer. Fave Bald Beauty asks, Christina, is my clairaudience getting stronger? Big time is what I get. They're like, oh, just wait till March. I feel like over the course of this year, it really strengthens and gets really strong too, which is good. So I hope that helps. Oh, it's me. It's you. But yeah, I'd say your clairaudience is getting stronger for sure. So let me bring through this message in the right way too. one thing they're saying is like allow that to expand your other gifts as well too. And it's like this message of like you can have both. One thing they're saying is like you can have full strength clairaudience and you can have full strength like clairsentience and have them feed into each other, if that makes sense. Like for example, I get really strong visuals and I get channeled messages, if that makes sense. And sometimes that's at the same time, but your gifts can really feed into each other and strengthen the message. So don't be afraid to let it all expand too, is one thing they're talking about. And you're definitely meant to work with your intuition and clairaudience, so keep working with it. Quantum Butterfly, will I move to New York this year? Feeling stuck. I don't get that's the place for you, interestingly enough. Unless you really feel called to it, unless you really want to. I mean, you could try to make anything happen, of course. You could rebel against me and book your ticket right now and just move there and live there for a week, and then I'd be wrong. But I'm getting no. I'm getting that they're saying not to move to New York for some reason. Things are going to conspire to get you to the right place, Quantum Butterfly, but that's more... Those are the answers I'm getting, and that's the direction I'm leaning with the answer, if that makes sense. I feel like it would be a temporary place if you moved there. I feel like it'd be good, but there's other places that would be better for you is something they're talking about. And they're kind of indicating it's about the people you'd encounter. There's other places that have better people for you. So I hope that helps. And I'm not here to make you wrong or you right or me wrong or me right. Really, my best intention that I want to hold is that I just help you in the highest and best ways I can help you with all this. And of course my intention is always to bring through the highest and most accurate information, but for some reason I want to say that. You're welcome, Faith Bob Beauty. Hey, XXT. Aspiring Human 13. Career, I have no idea what field to go into. I mean, the first two things I'm kind of getting are like writing and healing would be two to look at for you. But let that expand. And don't get tied into the ideas of what those things are, but look at the possibilities in those fields that could resonate for you, if that makes sense, because that is a bit of a broad starting point, even though it's not, but it kind of is. So anything else that would help with aspiring human? It's interesting because they're almost showing you in like as a doctor, like with a doctor coat and a stethoscope on. I'm not saying that's literally what it's going to be, but even that would be good for you, aspiring human, interestingly enough, is something I get. And not the literal message, but that realm is something they're talking about, like either healing work or medical. But also I really feel like you need to write. I do get you have a gift for writing. And even like healing people through writing, whether that's channeled writing or sharing the things that you feel called to share to help others heal. I would start there or sit with that and see how that evolves as a vision. Anything else for you that comes through specifically for you regarding career? I also get a message for you, like if you feel like you're dealing with any type of menial jobs, don't get stuck or don't feel stuck in menial jobs. If you're dealing with any of that, build a business is something they're saying. If you feel like you're working with menial jobs, that's your way out is something they're saying. I don't know if that's your situation, but that's something they're saying for some reason. So pies in the sky. Is there a reason after a year that you still think of Mark so frequently? Pies in the sky, think of Mark so frequently each day. Pies in the sky can't seem to refocus. Oop, sorry, I accidentally pulled up my text box and now I can't see. 1 second here. I don't know how to... Okay, I'm going to say hey so I can get the text box out of my face. Hi. Hey, me. Grateful beyond words. Great confirmation. Thank you. You're welcome, aspiring human. Grateful it helped. Who was I answering? I'm so sorry. Pie in the sky. Is there a reason after a year pie in the sky still can't or still thinks of Mark so frequently each day? Pies in the sky can't seem to refocus. I mean, they were showing me cutting the cords first and foremost. one thing I'm getting is there's still a relationship, there's still a message in that whole relationship. And if I said there's still a relationship on accident, this probably means something, either as a synchronicity or something else. They were talking about like just calling in Archangel Michael, having to cut the cords. I'm sure you've already done that or tried something like that. Or even like a Reiki video on YouTube for cord cutting. There's one by Divine White Light, I think, that maybe you could try. But what I'm getting is like, the question is like, what is the lesson that needs to be learned from that you still have to learn, if anything? I'd really like sit with that, maybe even journal about it, like sit down, write that question and see if anything comes to you, or just sit with it. Because really it's meant to grow you, interestingly enough, like the whole thing. And I also get this message like it's the whole situation's meant to help you be more you unabashedly, is the phrase they're giving me as well. So I'll just trust what they're bringing through. But as far as like what would help you with overcome this or get through this beyond what I've already said, if anything, and it's kind of along the same vein of what I already said, but like the visual they showed me is you just going into like, universe, what are you trying to show me, or something like that. But I feel like that's going to help shift it over time. And even like there was also a visual of like asking Archangel Michael to potentially help you walk out of that, if you like to refocus or to cut the cords and slowly get you to shift out of that. I don't think that's the message as much as the other things that came through, though, if that makes sense. But you know what? The other thing I want to say is it's okay if you are like distracted and like focused on that, and that's something that you're really sitting with a lot, pies in the sky. Sometimes that happens to people, and the main thing I keep getting is that there's a lesson in there. And as soon as you figure that out, you'll be moving on, is something they're saying. But let the universe show you. And don't worry about where the relationship's supposed to go, or if there's still, something that seems like a possibility to you. Like, don't get wrapped up in that. Like, get wrapped up in like, what do you need to gain from this? And maybe get wrapped up in isn't the right word, but I hope that helps, pies in the sky. There is a bit of a soul connection there. But I wouldn't use that as an excuse to just stay stuck in it. Not that you were going to do that anyways. I hope that helps in any way, shape, or form. And thanks for the fire too. Dave Sultana, will I reach my weight loss goal this year? You'll get really close. But yes, go for it. Go for it. And that's one of those things you kind of have to take action on. Yes. Okay. I was going to say something, but I really don't want to deter it. Okay. You can absolutely just like set intentions and do energy work to help with weight loss. All that being said, I would not just do that unless you realize it's really working for you. I would also be taking action, exercising, doing what you need to do. Stop eating bread, cut out carbs. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people around me, I've noticed, who went on some type of like no more eating carbs diet. Like my parents, like my mom and stepdad, and like some of my friend group and my friends and their family as well, like shifted their diet as well. So I just found that as a really interesting thing I noticed a lot of people around me doing. I don't know why I wanted to say that, but that's the short answer for that. Aw, so grateful for your live today. Thank you, Hals. I appreciate that you are grateful for this live and that this is good for you. Thank you. This is so helpful. You're welcome, pies in the sky. I really hope that helped. I hope you're able to either move on or do what would be highest and best regarding that for you, whatever that looks like for you. Belinda J asks, will Belinda J overcome their panic attacks and agoraphobia? You will learn to mitigate it to a point where, yes, you will, if that makes sense. And they're giving me the phrase damage control. And what do I mean by that? An example that might not apply is like, maybe, okay, I'll do an example that was for me that I had to go through. So for instance, I had this really big caffeine thing when I was a teenager. I'm 29 now, so it's been a second. But I would drink so much Monster Energy drink. I loved Monster Energy drink. It tasted so good. But it got to the point where I was just like, I was not sleeping. I was drinking like 3 Monster Energy drinks every day. It was bad. It was really bad. And so like, but one thing I've found is like, I really do enjoy caffeinated beverages. But now I'm at the point where, well, actually, I'm at the point where I don't actually need caffeine. I've realized I'm actually pretty good when I don't have it. But well, I'll drink like a coffee as opposed to like 3 Monsters. And like, that's kind of the damage control is like, I really enjoy this beverage. I love coffee. But instead of drinking this energy drink with all this crap, that's probably not really good for me. I've transferred it to a coffee every day. And one coffee every day is not that bad. And it's not even every day anymore. But it's like that damage control would be like, okay, I really like this, but instead of drinking 3 Monsters every day, I'm going to have one, or I'm going to switch to coffee and have a cup of coffee or two a day, if that makes sense. Or it's like, instead of drinking, I don't know, a whole bottle of wine, I'm just going to drink half a glass until I can quit. Something like that. But that's what they kind of mean by damage control. And how does that apply to you? How can you do your best to mitigate the effects of what you're going through? So maybe there's still a little bit of it, but you can still function in the meantime. Like, what are the things that soothe those things or help to rein it in that you can incorporate into your life to overcome those things, if that makes sense? Even if it's just like one step you're taking to see a good counselor or healer about it, or someone who knows what they're doing about it is what I mean. To see a therapist and find the right one, like move the energies in that direction. And I promise you, this is what they're saying, and I hesitate to make promises. But what they're saying is, I promise you, if you take the steps to help yourself with this and keep going, you're gonna mitigate it and have a life you want to live, is what they're saying. But it is something you have to take action, and I think maybe it's a little bit dangerous to promise that. By the way, I'm not a doctor, but disclaimer. If you keep taking the steps to overcome it, you're going to find the tools and things to do it. Take action, keep moving in that direction, keep moving the energies in that direction, pray every day, do whatever you can think of that's within reason and for the highest good. I hope this helps. And I guess I haven't recommended it. Well, my guides love to recommend this, but if you haven't already, if it feels right to you, maybe try learning Reiki as well and seeing how you shift with the Reiki attunements and some self-Reiki. You might as well throw everything at the wall. That makes sense to throw at the wall and see what sticks to help you. So I hope that helps, Belinda J. And I know that's a lot to go through, but... and they're also giving me a phrase like ancestral clearing. So is all of that stuff there's... Never mind, they don't want to focus on that. Because I was just checking in, like, because sometimes we have certain issues and not all of it's ours. And I was checking in, I was getting not all of it's yours, but that's not the main thing they want to focus on. And that's not going to help you if that's all you focus on, if that makes sense. It's better that you take care of the roots within you to heal that, is what I get. So I hope that helps. Yeah, you're welcome, Belinda J. Anyways, Q&A. Alison Strahan asks, is moving west where I'm supposed to go? I get in that direction, yeah. But don't get fixated on anything right now. But that's the right direction. It's like what they said. Anything else for you? There's just like a reminder, just to make sure it's where you actually want to be. Don't go somewhere just because it seems trendy. Excuse me. Make sure it really feels right, like in your soul. Excuse me, belching. Cool. MCR Freak Show. Will I get a job as a 3D character artist? Well, you get a job as a 3D character artist in February. I'm leaning towards yes. I'm getting yes. I know you had like a longer version of that question I think I saw, and I didn't get around to answering it, where it was like, if you're going to relocate. I do get you're going to end up getting a job where you relocate. But I feel like that's a pretty high likelihood you'll get that or something similar. But that is a great job for you, is what I'd say as well. So I hope that helps, MCR Freak Show. Anyways, Tina, guidance is asking for guidance, messages from spirits and family. So that would be highest and best to come through for Tina and help you. You're welcome. And also, like, MCR Freak Show, like, do your best not to get attached, because there's other opportunities for you in that field that will open up past that one. But keep going for that job. I think you should definitely keep going for that job. But Tina, back to Tina. What would be highest and best for Tina to know? Reflect is coming out here, first and foremost. And famously, maybe not famously, it was like a TikTok with a few thousand views, so it's not famously. But one time I pulled this card, and I think I said these were like some type of bird that it would, like, these look like swans or geese, and I can't remember what I said. But now I jokingly want to call them things that they just blatantly aren't. Like, I want to call them ravens now or something, just as a joke. So those who know will know. But anyways, that's not the message. I'm so sorry. What's important here with this message is with these bluebirds on the card is with reflect. Okay, here's what I'm getting for you. Everything right now for you is a reflection of you, is what they're talking about. And I don't like that message a lot, and I don't always resonate with that message. But that's what I'm getting for you at this time, at least. So I would be like looking at like what's going on around you and asking like, what is this showing me about myself? And maybe in some instances it's not a direct mirror. It's like, what's the best way to say this? Guys, give me an example, please. Like, maybe you have friends who like fight all the time with each other. And like you're always like there, like either as the mediator or you're just watching this happen and you're observing it, and you just kind of look at it and be like, what is this telling me about me? And it's like, maybe you allow too much negative self-talk in your own life, if that makes sense, or allow too much infighting in yourself, if that makes sense. It's like an example or a metaphor for that. But it's almost just like asking and allowing the answer to come to you. I wouldn't try to force an answer. So what would help you most? Why is that an important message for you here with the reflect card? Just so you're aware of what's going on, honestly, is what they're talking about. It is meant to, like so many things in life, it's meant to grow you, and just kind of help you to get to the root causes of certain things that have been going on within you that maybe they've been plaguing you for some time, and you're like, what is that? But if you kind of like look at what's going on around you and be like, what is, like, if you notice a pattern, like, what is that? And what is that telling me about myself? It might surprise you what that will help you shift in your life. And that's kind of reminding me a bit of an as above, so below kind of concept as well. It's kind of popping into my head, where maybe like, I'm not saying go out of the way to heal other people in a forced way to heal yourself, but maybe you mediate a conflict with two friends and then that somehow heals a conflict within yourself at the same time, with that as above, so below interconnectedness of all things. You never know, and this is a message that's for the highest good, but you never know what you're shifting when you shift something. Like even cleaning your house could be a way to clean up your energies or clean up your life, if you could say, or even like working on your house could be working on yourself, as above, so below. It's just something to keep in mind as well with that message. Another thing with movement for you, I'm getting like everything's moving around you with this movement card for you. So what else is the message for you with this card with movements? One message I get for you is if you let everything move around you, but just keep walking to where you want to go, you'll get to where you want to go. And it's like they just show you walking a path, and there's like this snake like swirling around the path and going everywhere, and things are like morphing around you, but you're just walking this path towards where you want to go. And it's almost like one message is like you're safe and protected, but it's also just like, as long as you're just walking towards where you want to go, like the path seems pretty unaffected but by what's swirling all around it and changing. You're going to get to where you need to go if you just keep walking. And I think that's a message not to get distracted. Yeah, that's part of the message they're saying as well. It's like that's partly a message not to get distracted and get caught up in all that. It's more just like forward focus, eyes on the prize kind of a thing. Or it kind of reminds me, is that like an Abraham Hicks thing? Hold your vision. People say that, like hold your vision a lot now, I've noticed, with like manifesting. With the seeker, one thing I'm getting is no more crumbs. These are teeth. over the hands, falling into the hands. Excuse me, it's mirrored. It's not mirrored, so I'm trying to figure out directions and stuff. The screen's not mirrored, but your life is, I suppose. But they were indicating these or showing it to me in my intuition as crumbs. So what does no more crumbs mean? For you, what I'm getting is stop accepting crumbs from people when you deserve the whole loaf of bread. I would definitely not allow yourself to be breadcrumbed by people, whether it's in romance or, I don't know, I wouldn't be like led on by empty promises or like if people are like, oh yeah, I'll change. And then like they never change and it's been 2 years. You're like, okay, time to get the whole loaf. We're going to stop accepting these crumbs. That's an example. I'm not saying that's exactly what's happening for you. They're also putting my eyes to these like strings down here at the bottom of the hands. And maybe this is supposed to indicate, you know, the arm connected to the hands, but to me it looks like strings, and they were showing it to me as strings. So what's the message with the strings here? One message they have for you is not to let your hands be tied. And what does that mean? What they're saying is like there's more actions that you can take than you realize. If you think your hands are tied, like take a little bit of a deeper look closer and see what you can do anyways, if that makes sense. So what does that even mean? Like maybe someone's in the hospital and you think you can't do anything, but then like you realize, wait a second, I can call upon, like I can ask my friend who's a healer to see if they can send Reiki, or, oh, wait a second, I can ask Archangel Raphael to help this person or the universe to heal them, or I can make these prayers that what's for the highest good to occur for this person in the hospital occurs. It's like this message, like you're not as powerless as you may seem. And sometimes your power is hidden. But if you're willing to take a deeper look and access it, even if it's through something like energy work or manifestation or something that wouldn't be a direct, I guess it would be a direct action, but wouldn't seem like a direct action to everyone. That's at least taking that extra step, if that makes sense, to get things going in the right direction, if that makes sense. But it's really this question of like, even if it seems like you can't do anything, like what else can you do? Like what can you do? Because there might be more you can do, interestingly enough. Speaking of manifestation, the manifest card is popping out for you, Tina. I do get for you, it's if you haven't already, and I can't remember if have I done a reading for you where I said this, but it's definitely time to manifest. There's a lot of gold waiting for you to ask for what you want. And like the way they're showing it to me is like there's all these diamonds around this cow's head. And they almost showed this like layer of earth. But oh my God, sorry. When it's not mirrored, I'm trying to like, okay. In this circle of diamonds, there was this layer of mud. And instead of the diamonds, it was gold. And when you asked for what you wanted, the mud layer started to shift and the gold started to pour forward. It was like it broke through this crust and was able to get to you. So I'm getting this message of ask for exactly what you want. Not what you think you, I guess not what you think you want. I don't know if that helps to hear. Not what societally you think would be best to ask for, and not what not like, you know, sometimes there's this judgment of like, oh, is it spiritual to ask for this? Oh, is it spiritual to ask for that? In one quote I've heard is like, you know, it's spiritual just to be alive. That I really love. I think I heard Lee Harris say something along that lines at one point. I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. So it's like, I think sometimes we have this judgment of what spiritual people or spirituality is or isn't. And this might be just a side message. I don't know if this applies to you directly, Tina. And we kind of judge what we're asking for, where it's like, oh, should I really be asking for money was an example I think Lee Harris gave. Or should I really be asking for, I can't use that example, TikTok. Should I really be asking for, what's a ridiculous example that would work? I don't know. Should I really be asking to look more attractive so I can feel better about my body? Like, I don't know. You feel called to ask for it for a reason. So I think that'd be good to dig into like, why do I want that? But maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's some really cool things that could happen if you manifested yourself looking more attractive and all of a sudden you felt called to work out and get this haircut and then like the love of your life shows up. Maybe there's a reason you feel called to ask for what you ask for beyond you wanting to ask for it, you know, and you never know how the universe is working through you for those things as well. both for yourself and the collective. And maybe it's not just about you. Maybe that person thinks you're the love of your life, and if you hadn't gotten that style change, maybe it wouldn't have caught their eye right away, but maybe they would have been attracted to you either way once they got to know you, but that's what caught their eye. So I don't know, it's things like that. You never know how what you feel called to ask for could be exactly what you're supposed to ask for, even if the story out there is, oh, that's not spiritual, or oh, I don't know if I should ask for that, or oh, I don't know, if that makes sense. So I don't know, keep that in mind. I don't know why I went into that tirade. Sorry. So what else would be good for Tina to know? I've been talking about that for a while, so I'm gonna pull another card here. Tina, I would definitely, if you don't already, practice your intuition with the High Priestess coming out here. I was getting hone your intuition with this. The word I also get with this is knowing, and knowing does come through a lot for me when I pull the High Priestess card. And like all that being said, going back to the first message of the path, you already know what direction you want to go. Just move that direction. There's also this message like things are going to open up for you. The thing about the High Priestess, there's no ceiling above her, and they were showing, the visual I was getting was the High Priestess like going up here. There's no ceiling, and they gave me, she was like, oh, space. Like there's so much space, like just for me to be, so much possibility, like so much space for her and her reality. So what's that about? Like she has space to be herself is the message I'm getting for this. Like above her, like there's no limits above her. There's no confinement. There's just possibility and knowing and intuition, I guess you could say. The other thing they're indicating for you as well is this moon at the feet of the High Priestess. And typically one being that's depicted with the moon at their feet is Mother Mary. And you don't have to be You don't have to be religious to work with Mother Mary. You could also look at it as like an ascended master kind of thing. But she's helped me out a lot. I'm not really Christian anymore. I grew up Catholic, but so maybe that's why I feel more comfortable with it. But compassion would be a good thing to bring it into your life. And you are compassionate, but also what's the message for you as well with this? I would also call upon, Mother Mary, Queen of Angels, whatever your name for her, just to kind of help you and to help steer things in the right direction if you need that, or help you with things going on around you, if that makes sense. And even like to help give you clarity on things if you need clarity. But I feel like she's kind of showing up a little bit as someone that wants to help you or is there to help you as well. Also, your knowing is going to be really strong, is something they're talking about, like claircognizance, knowing. And Six of Swords kind of wanted to pop out as well, which is improvements. Of course, going to calmer waters. Any specific messages for you with this card? If you keep going, life improves, is what I'm getting. So I hope that helped and made any sense, Tina. I feel like I went on a huge tirade halfway through, and I hope that was all good for you. I want one more card for you. Or anything else with this reflect card that they want to bring out for you. Okay, one message they have for you before we go to the next reading is self-awareness is key right now. That's part of what the reflect message is about. Is you become aware of things going on within you, you're able to change everything. Because as you're able to change yourself, you're able to change your whole life. Or as you're able to shift certain patterns, you're able to shift like the entire trajectory for the better. I don't think that's quite exactly how they wanted me to phrase it. So how do you guys want me to phrase it? As you become aware of things going on within you, you can shift them, and that shifts your whole life. That's exactly what they wanted me to say. So I hope that helps. I'd also I don't know, you might want to look into your lineage too, Tina, like just some of your ancestral lineage, or there might be something for you if you look into that as far as like your history, or well, can you guys help me out here? Give me the words. I get there's something for you in your ancestry that would help you if you knew about it, whether it would bring clarity or something else. So I hope that helps. Anyways, I'm gonna drink water and recenter here. Okay, sorry. So, extra small popsicle. Ask for any advice on letting go of someone having issues. Let's see here. Excuse me. I was going to say something, but I said, no, don't say that. So, one second. What would be high semester for me to say to help you regarding letting go of someone? So the first thing they're kind of talking about is a ritual. Any sort of ritual to help you let go, whether it's cord cutting or a crystal grid or something to move the energies in the best direction for you. Because they're indicating like a tether. Like I do get there might be a lot of attachment there, or they said there's a lot of attachment there, which might be part of it. And perhaps there were a lot of hopes that weren't realized is something that's coming through as well. Sometimes we bank on someone being the answers to our prayers, but they're not. And that's okay. And it's okay if you think they are for a time. But right now, like a question I have for you is like, what would be the answer to your prayers? What would actually be an answer to what you've been asking about? And you will end up moving on, by the way, is something I get as well. This won't be a forever issue. But some type of ritual to kind of get unstuck and kind of sitting with like, well, what's the best way to say this? Another question for you that they want to phrase is, what are you trying to get from the situation? And I guess you could phrase that a couple ways. Like, what were you trying to get from that individual? But also like, never mind, they don't want to go that direction. I was going to say, what are you getting from holding on to it? And maybe that would help for you to know, like, what are you getting from holding on to it so that you can become aware of that and shift things and you'll be more apt to let go. I don't think that's the direction though, based on what I'm getting for letting go as well. Doing some self-energy work and energy healing would be good as well. Maybe not even with the intention to like, I mean, yes, the intention to move on is like there in the background automatically, but more at the intention to shift yourself so you're not holding on, or shift yourself so you don't feel as attached. Or shift yourself so you're more open to the possibilities that aren't this person. And you know what? Let's see. Sometimes it's a process and you kind of have to give it time in addition to those things. And let life show you some other possibilities and let life show you like other people that come in for you. But this will fade is something I'm getting as well. So I'd build a crystal grid with the intention to help. I do sit with some of the other things I said that I can't remember right now that came through. And yeah, 8 of Cups, walking away. I'm going to see if there's anything else that would help you shift that for you. Is there any specific chakra to work on? I mean, they're indicating heart chakra and throat chakra would be good for you to sit with and work on, or maybe either do some self-energy work or a Reiki on YouTube, like Reiki videos for those chakras can be good. And actually that would really help you. I'm getting, if you went through the whole chakra suites, Divine White Light. If you go to their YouTube page and go to their playlists, and then you go to, there's like a chakra healing playlist, I think, and they just have like each of the 7 chakras, and I think there's like a 7 chakra purification. I would actually go through that chakra suite and see how you feel after going through that, because that's helped me in the past with certain things, but I hope that helps. Extra small popsicle. You will definitely shift out of it. And call upon Archangel Michael as well to help guide you out of it. And 10 of Cups popping out for you as the outcome is happy home, happy life. Not with that individual, but if this was romance, it'll likely be with someone else. If this is about something else, it'll be just something better, I get. So I hope that helps. Oop. And what's 6 of... Oh, improvements. This card is like really wanting to pop out right now. Cool. Divine White Light on YouTube for F. Yeah, thank you, XXT. Okay. Carissa, 1111. How are you doing? Hi, Brandon. Would love a general reading. Thank you. Yeah, let's see what comes through. 3 of Wands, and I'm getting the word waiting, but they're saying it really slow, like waiting. The message is don't wait. Honestly, first and foremost, is what I'm getting with this one. I do feel like you have dreams and you have goals and you should move towards them, regardless of whether it's Mercury in retrograde or not right now, is something that I'm saying as well. But sometimes even just taking one step towards something is enough to move the energies and start to manifest it. Even if it seems really small, even if it's just like writing down a manifestation and putting it up on the wall, so you look at it every day, or so that you have that intention out there to the universe. So anything else with this Three of Wands for you that would be helpful for you right now? I feel like for you, it would be really good if you worked in healing, if you don't already, in some way, shape, or form, whatever that looks like to you, whether that's, I think you already know like what that could look like. It could be energy work, it could be anything, whatever feels like that for you. But they're saying that like work in healing specifically for you is like a message they want to say. Even if it's temporary, even if it's on the side, I don't think it's going to be temporary. That's something you're meant to do and experience is something they're talking about that would be really helpful for you. I'm going to shuffle these. Four of Wands coming out here, which it's funny because on this Three of Wands, this on the gold and black tarot looks like a checkered flag, and this can denote finish lines as well. And one thing I'm getting for you is that you're wrapping up a lot in your life. There are some people that really are as well. But I would pay attention to finish lines and like things that feel like finish lines. And that could be like, for an example, could be like a finish line at school when you graduate, if that makes sense. Like that, a graduation could be a finish line and then you're on to the next phase, if that makes sense. But I do get you're wrapping up a lot of old cycles. There is a lot of celebration, like, you know, these people are celebrating on the other side of the Wands. But I do get you will be celebrating when you're done, which will be really good. One thing that's, well, let's see what they want to say. They're kind of showing me like this, and out of the corner of my eye, it looked like a puzzle piece, this like little space in the banner, I guess. It doesn't look like it when I look at it directly. But I do get like this concept of like puzzle pieces coming together for you. And like one thing they're talking about is like as things fall away in your life, it's like a piece falls away and then a new one just comes in right there and replaces it. But it actually rearranges the puzzle and the total image that's on the puzzle. So maybe you start with like a dragon puzzle, but then as like certain pieces fall away, like they're replaced and the puzzle takes on a different shape and it's replaced with a unicorn. But it might not make sense while it's transitioning because there's a certain point where you have like half a dragon and half of this like white thing with a horn and you're like, what's happening? And then it turns, you know, and these pieces can be, you know, falling away at any which order. But with all that, you know, it makes sense as you hit the finish line. It's like, oh, it's a unicorn. Oh, we just I don't know. I don't want to say dragons are less magical than unicorns. I don't want to get into this debate. But the example they were like, oh, we just upgraded our magic. Or, oh, we just transferred to this other phase of life. And instead of this big, powerful dragon energy, it's this gentle, magical unicorn in this soothing forest, if that makes sense. I don't think they liked that example. I think that wasn't the best example I could have used, so I apologize. But I think you know what I'm trying to say. Even if things get confusing, let it be confusing. It's just your puzzle rearranging, I guess you could say in some ways. Get out of this, Eight of Swords. Of course, this is about confinement, but what type of confinement and where? What is this about for them? Some of this is mental. I do get like getting out of your head. Like one of the common meanings of Eight of Swords, because one of the messages I'm getting is you're not as restricted as you think. And of course, like with these swords, like she can walk out of any of these swords at any point in time. She could take the blindfold off and, you know, get rid of this loosely wrapped thing around their arms, and then they could just like dip out. And they could take a sword as a souvenir if they wanted. Because like this person thinks they're trapped, but they're not. If you feel trapped anywhere, try to think about how you're not, or what you could do to get out of that mindset. And there's also this message of like, sometimes we think something is for us, but it's not. And it's like, maybe there's like, they're showing it as a trophy. Like you're looking at this pedestal with this trophy on it and you're like, oh, I really love that trophy. It's so beautiful. That looks so good on my fireplace next to the boar's head that my father hunted and my grandfather before him. Probably not literally. I don't think you have a boar's head on your fireplace. But then someone else takes that trophy. Like someone else wins that competition, or that trophy gets handed to someone else. You're like, that's not fair. Like that was my trophy. I wanted it. This was my dream. But right behind that trophy, as it's removed, is another pedestal with a bigger trophy that's platinum instead of gold, and it literally has your name written on it. And that's kind of what they're showing me for you, is like sometimes, I guess another example could be like a crystal at a metaphysical shop. Like sometimes we walk in and there's this gorgeous crystal and you're like, ooh, you know that meme that's like that GIF or whatever with like the cat that's like shaking its butt and it like already to pout, and then it like flips to like Shaq, and like Shaq's doing this thing and it like flips between the two indefinitely. It's kind of like that. Like you see a crystal and you're like, ooh, baby. But then all of a sudden, like, you're like, okay. But then like either someone just like buys it, or like you come back the next time, like, if you're still here, I'm going to get you. But then it's bought. But then all of a sudden, like the crystal that they bought it brought forward from their inventory to replace it was like, oh, that one's even better, I'm getting that one. Or maybe they bring something from the back when you point out the crystal you really want, like, oh, you should see like the rest of this thing that we got, and like you're like, that's it, like it's things like that. So it's like, it's almost like not getting fixated on one thing, but allowing it to be flexible enough that like if something gets removed from your path that you are really fixated on, you're okay with like going to what's behind it because it's going to be better. Okay, hope that helps as a message for you, Carissa, as well. Whether that could be about any area of your life, that could be about love, that could be about a career, that could be about an accomplishment, it could be about anything. So any other messages for you before we move forward? Manifest card coming out again. I want to shuffle this deck. They're saying no, that's the card. So what else? Okay, so there's clouds on the back of this manifestation card. They're just pointing my eyes to, and they're saying get your head out of the clouds, interestingly enough. It's like this message like you've dreamed long enough, take action, which kind of goes back to the Three of Wands card that we were talking about first and foremost as well. As soon as you get your head out of the clouds and get a little bit more grounded and take action and move forward, that's when things start to happen for you, is what I'm getting. And your manifestations will come true. Just be sure to incorporate, well, if it feels right, incorporate that other advice that came forward for you. I'd really trust your intuition at this time as well. One thing that they're showing me is like these look like pomegranates up here. One thing they're saying is like this is going to be a very fertile time for you going forward. So I would definitely be like planting seeds like with your actions and words and manifestations of like what do you want to see in the future, and then taking action to start bringing them into reality. And for you, take action is like something that they really want you to do. So I hope that helps, Carissa. Anything else? I would also pay attention to the color blue, because they're showing me like blue skies right now, and they said pay attention to the color blue. And what's that about? What is the color blue about? That could be a healing color for you right now. So even like energy work where you're envisioning yourself in a blue light. Blue kyanite might be a good crystal for you as well, helping with the throat chakra and alignment. But for some reason, it could just be a sign for you as well, the color blue. So I hope that helps. Thanks for the balloons, Aranya? Aaron, yeah? Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. But thank you for the balloons. How's 2.0? I felt down. You felt down. Any comforting messages for you? So any comforting messages for Hal? What would be highest and best to come through for Hal right now? Let's see. I mean, first and foremost, what they're pointing me with the Two of Pentacles was the message they want to get to. Like, there are these ships riding these waves, and there is this up and down to the waves. And so there is this reminder, like, it's just a down period. The waves will pick you back up. You're definitely not going to drown, is what they're talking about. So I definitely ride those waves of life, those ups and downs, and know that this is temporary. I think sometimes when you just realize that, it helps. I'll say it as a brief example. Maybe this will apply in a different way to someone else listening too. But I remember, like, when I used to work, there was this, like, grocery store I used to work at. And, like, my least favorite thing ever was cashiering. It was so draining. I'd love it for 2 hours because you'd get to connect with people and be, like, super kind, and it was fun. And then after 2 hours, I was like, I'm done. I can't do it. I don't want to see another face. I'm feeling super drained. And, like, one of the only things that kind of got me through it was I just kind of, like, realized after a few days, or after a few years of, like, work, or I didn't work there that long, but it was just kind of like, like, you get to these points, you're like, oh, I don't want to be here. But then this, like, kind of stoic thing kicks in where it's like, you know what? a few hours are going to go by just like every day, and I'm just going to be right back to doing whatever I do when I get home, and it's going to be like nothing happens. And it's whenever I took that stance, it was just kind of like, yeah, maybe it wasn't that fun, but it was like this stoic stance where it just kind of happened, and then the 2 hours were over, and I was right back home doing whatever I do that I normally do. And so like that's kind of the message I get for like, I think it's good to comfort yourself and work through that as well. But for some reason, that was a message that wanted to come through about like riding the waves and just like knowing it's a temporary thing. So something that might help you is focusing on your sacral chakra a little bit. Nothing super serious, but something that just kind of helps to gently clear it out a little bit and give you a hopeful perspective is something I'm getting. Whether that's like the recommendation that's been coming through all day of like looking something up on YouTube or just doing your own thing as well. One thing that they have to say for you is there's a lot of gentle healing that's coming in for you. And sometimes healing can be really intense and really bright, but I feel like it's going to be more gentle for you. Almost like gently washing dirt away in a shower or something like that, where it's not quite so vicious, you could say. Anything else that would be comforting for you to know or that would be helpful? I do get a message as well, just to be gentle with yourself right now. And it's like a weird message of like, there's nothing wrong with feeling down. It's okay to be in this period. And sometimes just that acceptance can help shift it too, you know, when something's happening and you're just kind of like, okay. And then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, you're like, okay, I feel better. I'm not saying that's going to happen specifically for you, but that's something they want to talk about. So what else would be highest and best for you? No, what would be the highest and best message for you, or best comforting messages for you? I'm going to take this top card. Oh my gosh. So I'm just shuffling. They told me to take the top card and manifest. Came out again. So I don't know what's up with y'all today, but just kidding. I love you guys. What's important for you to know with manifest is a comforting message here. This is a really weird message. So maybe this is something that we can just go through really quickly right now, but it's almost like this visualization or meditation they want to give you. So there's all these gemstones around this manifesting cow's skull thing, bull's, whatever it is. And they're almost showing me this meditation you could do where you kind of sit and like you take these, it's more in your mind's eye, it's not literal, though of course maybe doing some sort of crystal healing would be good too. But it's like you take a diamonds, they can either be colored or they're clear. And there's 7 diamonds, or as many as shows up for you in the meditation. And each of these diamonds kind of goes to each of your chakras. And as you're sitting with this meditation, these diamonds like infuse with your chakras in a sense. And part of this is showing you in a good way, the diamond that you are, or the shine you can bring to the world. And it's also helping you to shine and see the many facets of you is what they're talking about. But that might be a good intention or meditation to do and see what that does, because that does happen sometimes for people, and when I do personal readings, like some type of visualization to do in a meditation shows up, and that's something that's showing up for you, and I'm very curious to see where that could go, because of course, you know, spirit can kind of take you to wherever that meditation is supposed to take you. But one of the messages is like it's meant to help you realize your uniqueness and realize that you do bring something unique to the world. And it's also that meditation is meant to infuse your chakras with a higher light, so you can embody more of your soul, and so you can allow through more light is something they're talking about as well. Another thing they're saying with this down period, they're like, just a detox. It's just a detox. And that might not be just what it is, but in some ways it's like an emotional detox or like even a spiritual detox where you're kind of shedding things or just getting certain things out of your system. And sometimes when we feel a certain way, that can be it as well. So any tarot cards that would be highest and best for you as well, or any other comforting messages? I mean, with Ten of Swords coming through here, this might not seem comforting the second you saw it, but give me a second here. One of the messages I get is, like, they gave me a phrase like, what's done is done and it's only up from here, is kind of what they were saying. In some ways, like, one of the messages they have, like, if you feel like you're going through any type of loss, and that's part of what's going on, is, and maybe this is for someone else, like, it's okay to have loss because it's teaching you how to live, is interestingly like the phrase that they're saying, which I think is a really interesting quote. Maybe I should be writing some of this stuff down. But anyways, that's just something they want to say as well regarding that. You do have a lot more friends coming. Three of Pentacles is about collaboration, and that's the message that they had for this is you have more friends coming and people who resonate with you. And that is more in the future. I don't know if that'll be right away, but I would keep that in mind as well as an encouraging message for you. Another thing that they're showing me on this Three of Pentacles is like this bench that this dude bro is standing on looks like an altar. And they kind of showed you like, you know, kneeling elbows on the altar and praying. So what's the message here? I would definitely be praying to ask the universe to help you through this and ask the source to help you through this and see what shows up. Or ask for the universe to lift your spirits, if that makes sense. That's another recommendation they have for you with these cards and some of the messages coming through. They're also, they're showing me the Ace of Cups in my intuitive visuals, and they're saying, say Ace of Cups. So Ace of Cups. Some of what you're doing is preparing for a new beginning, is what they're saying, like energetically. Sometimes I think all the time when you get to a certain point, but sometimes we prepare energetically for our future before it happens, is something that they're talking about. So you're already kind of making the shifts and changes you need in you to be ready for the new direction or an event that happens. So keep that in mind as well. Sometimes we're just shifting for the future, and it's not that something's wrong with us. But I hope that helps, Hals, between all of that. I hope any of that was even comforting. Oh, thanks, Be Divine. Oh, you're right. You're right. It is difficult to go through like 3 hours of these as well. I'm not going to write it down. It was for you guys to hear. But that's a good point, Be Divine. You're right. You're totally right. Okay. Okay, so... Okay, I'm going to keep going for a bit still. Corinne Novik asked, hi, first time here. Good to see you. Any messages and guidance for you? Hopefully you're still here. Hopefully you didn't ask this like 20 years ago, at like 10 a.m. and... hopefully you didn't ask this like 2 hours ago and you're not here anymore. Page of Cups is what they're talking about. One thing they're kind of showing me with the Page of Cups is things being slippery. Like they're showing this fish slipping out of the cup, and then the page like tries to grab it and is trying to grab it, and the fish keeps slipping out of its hands. So what is the message with you about that? For you, if things like slip away from you, let it slip away is what they're talking about. And they're almost showing it to me in the way of a cat. So what does that mean? With cats, I guess one of the best examples I can give at the top of my head is like one thing I noticed was, I was at someone's house and they have these cats. And it was like, sometimes when you want the cat to come to you and you're like, oh, cat, the cat is just like could not care less. The cat just wants nothing to do with you. But the second there's like some reason you don't want the cat around you, the cat is just like up in your business. And like, oh, you don't want me? Okay, let's cuddle. Let me purr up in your face, you. So that's kind of the message I'm getting, where it's like letting things slip away is okay. Like it comes back around, but also like just a message of not being disappointed when they do. And it's going to sound so trite, but the message, there's plenty of fish in the sea with the fish slipping out of the cup, for instance. Even if you just mess something up, you're learning for the next time is something they're talking about with this Page of Cups. But the less you're bothered by losing something, the more things turn around more quickly for you, is one of the messages they have for you, interestingly enough. Okay, I was going to go into another meaning of the Page of Cups, but they're like, don't do it. So the Lovers coming out here, which is what I was going to talk about with the Page of Cups anyways. There is a message of like letting people go their own way, which might be what the Page of Cups was talking about with the things slipping out of your hands. Sometimes we think we have to be with someone or some people, but we don't. And if we let them go their own ways, like we realize why. But sometimes it's like that post-clarity, or like hindsight is 20/20 kind of thing, where it's like afterwards, suddenly like the events that transpire and things that happen, you're like, oh, that's why that couldn't work out with that person, or things like that. But part of the message for you is letting the universe direct you in life. Okay, I was going to say love, but life came out. So in life, yes. I think you're someone who can channel, by the way, Corinne. I don't think, that's what they said. Is you're someone who can channel. I feel like you're meant to, because that was a message that was coming through, is you're meant to channel, interestingly enough. And like the other thing is like this angel is kind of guiding. I kind of have to censor this, I think, because they're all like necky on the card. This angel is guiding you through love and through life. It's guiding these and the whole events that transpire and everything. And it's this reminder that everything is divinely guided. So sometimes even a mistake of yours isn't really a mistake. It's something that was supposed to happen so that a certain event could transpire, or certain events could transpire to get you or someone else where it would be highest and best for them, to lead to the highest and best outcomes, if that makes sense. For instance, what's a good example? Like for example, and this is a smaller example, but one time I was, this was like 2019, I was really getting into my channeling, and my channeling was ramping up, and I was like, oh, they were really showing me I could do it in 2019, I guess you could say. It was a big ramp up year. But one thing I was doing is they'd have me automatically write messages in a notebook, and then take that piece of paper and put it in my pocket. And then they had me do this. It wasn't like all the time. They had me do it like 3 times or 4, sorry. And it worked out a few other ways as well, where like these notes I would channel would get to the right people at the right time. Even if it was like my girlfriend I lived with, but it popped out of my backpack or something like right after an event transpired, and it was like exactly the message they needed. But one time I took a note to work with me where I worked at the time, and I met, there was this one girl I'd met recently there, or this coworker that had started working there, and we talked a few times, and we were talking, and then my guides were like, hey, pull that note out of your pocket and give it to her. Like, give her the note. And then I didn't give her the note. I think I kind of chickened out, honestly, because I wasn't sure if she thought it was weird or something. But then what happened was I sat down for lunch, and at the same location, at where I worked, and I was sitting outside, actually. Either it was after my shift or during lunch, and she ended up walking by because she was in the middle of doing something in this task. And then I was about to like stop her, and I think they said something about like, stop her, go talk to her, tell her about this, give her the note, essentially. Stop her, give her the note, or do it, like give her the note, was what they were saying. I was like, oh, but she walked by so fast, and she was literally right by the door. But as she walked around the table and went to walk through the door, which was only like 10 feet away from where I was sitting, like she dropped a pen, and she's like, oops, and she went down to like drop the pen, and like that was my opportunity to be like, oh, hey, by the way, I hope this isn't weird, but I have this note, and my guys are saying this might be for you, or they were saying it was for her, and it turned out to be totally the exact message she needed at that time. So it's like all that being said, like that mistake of her dropping the pen wasn't a mistake. It was like the universe that worked through her to drop the pen so that I could give her the note, essentially, if that makes more sense. So sometimes even like those mistakes that we think are mistakes aren't mistakes. And sometimes it's hard to accept that, but it's something they want to say to you as well. Like even sometimes big things, I almost hesitate to say, but I don't know, that's what they want me to say for you. It's time to set this down for you, Karen. Sorry, I don't know. I can't read. I can read. I don't know what's up with your name, and of course I can read. But 10 of Wands coming out here. I'm getting it's time to drop your burdens. And so what is this about specifically? What I'm getting for you is this is things you think you're supposed to be doing, or like the stories of what you should be doing. And it's almost like instead of like asking what you should be doing, it's asking like, what would be highest and best for me to be doing? Because sometimes the things we're doing or we think we should be doing or society tells us we should be doing are not even close to what would actually be for the highest good for us to be doing, which would actually be what we quote unquote should be doing, if that makes sense. So in some ways, the message is to get out of your head a little bit, and allow yourself to be drawn to the wands that are actually for you, is one thing they're talking about, instead of trying to carry 20 things at once. If this gentleman or you set these wands down and allowed himself to be drawn to like the 2 or 3 that mattered most and just carried those, he'd realize the other wands didn't matter. There's no reason to be carrying all 10 wands at the same time, is the way they want me to read this card for you. So anything else for you that would be for your highest good with this card, or any other messages here? Wheel of Fortune. I was just about to say positive turnaround, and Wheel of Fortune came out, which is what's coming. What this is about, or can be about, is like a positive twist of fate or turnaround. There's a lot of surprises on the road ahead for you, even now. or just starting from now, or maybe it's been recent too, coming in for you. But it's all these little twists of fate that convene to completely change your life and even override, I get, some of the false ways you've been going. What does that mean, actually? Anywhere you've been going the wrong way, excuse me. I feel like these twists of fates are convening to get you going in the right direction, to drop the excess wands, if that makes sense. And a lot of this is life events too. This Wheel of Fortune is what I'm getting for you. So keep that in mind. There's also this like reminder that things can turn on a dime for the better, is something they're talking about. Sometimes you think nothing can change for you, or the fish from the Page of Cups slips away, and you're like, oh, I just ruined everything. But it's like, you never know when, like, on a dime, like overnight, things can shift in your favor, or in the span of a day or a week, or really quickly, if that makes sense. I get that's something that might happen for you, or something that will happen. Like, things just are going to start changing really quickly for you, and overriding some of the past decisions you made where you thought you messed up. And this is where you're headed, which is like everything you want in life is what the Ten of Pentacles can represent. Major abundance, wish fulfillment are also where it's coming to me, even though those are kind of, it seems like I'm spinning some of those good cards in, but those are just the words I'm hearing. I would also pay attention to building a solid foundation for yourself in your life. I would ask, like, what would it take for me to build a solid foundation and create the life I want to live? Instead of, take this the right way, instead of just living in the moment, if that makes sense, or fluttering about doing whatever. I don't think that's what you're doing, but for some reason that's like part of what I want to say, is just like, make sure you're building a solid foundation for what you want to see for yourself. I feel like that's something that will also help turn things around for you. That's the message. Anything else? Also, music might be something that's really healing for you, or like sound healing might be really good. So I hope that helped and made sense. I hope you're still here to hear all that. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. So I'm probably going to end the live soon. Yes. Oh, you're here. You're welcome. I hope that made sense and helps. Also, you're great is something they want to say. So I don't know why they want to say that. Anything else that would be good? What would be best for me to do next here? Okay, I'm probably going to end the live soon. Just a heads up, guys. Hey. Oh my God. My back. I'll pull a card for you, Sarah. Two of Pentacles again. Okay, what's Two of Pentacles for you? Weirdly, what I'm getting for you is balance your decision making. It's interesting. It almost reminds me of a Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V. He's like this social media dude who also owns a really successful media company and a bunch of other companies. But he has this quote, and it's like, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something along the lines of like head in the clouds, but also like, it's like head in the clouds, hands in the dirt, or it's about both keeping your dreams big and your vision big, but also taking the action consistently on the daily basis and on the small, and I guess on big things, to like make those big dreams a reality. So you're both visioning and grounding your action to create things. Well, this is more about decision making. And they're kind of talking about like the concept of head and heart, like your head and heart becoming one, where it's like you're balancing your intuition with what you're thinking, if that makes sense, or what logically makes sense. Or instead of just being all intuitive, you balance that in with like what also makes sense for you right now, if that makes sense. So in some ways, it's just a reminder not to make rash decisions, or they're trying to avoid you making rash decisions. Just, it's something they're talking about. Because like maybe you have a vision and it's really cool, like this vision for the future, and you're like, oh, okay, and then all of a sudden you move to Guatemala, but then all of a sudden it's just like, wait, why did I just tear my life down and move to Guatemala? Like there's nothing, like nothing's happening right now. It's like, how can you build your vision instead of tearing everything down right now to make it happen, if that makes sense? But it's also just a message of balancing out how you're making decisions right now. Sorry. So anything else that would be highest and best for you to know at this time here? The Six of Swords has been coming out the whole time. I'm going to shuffle. So I'd say you're on the right track in a lot of ways is something else that's coming through for you, Sarah, which is cool. I would, if you have momentum going in anything you're doing, projects, anything you're building, I would definitely keep the momentum going. Then the top two cards, which is, okay. Page of Cups and Two of Cups is really interesting as a combination here after I shuffled. Page of Cups, what they're talking about is like acting fast, weirdly enough, even though they don't want you to make rash decisions. So what's this about? So for you, if you have an opportunity show up for you, I would definitely jump on it. And this could be about love, because Two of Cups is about a card about finding soulmates. I would also not hold back in finding love is a message they have for you. I'm not sure if you're seeing anyone, but you're definitely meant to find it. And when something turns up, don't be rash, but act fast is what they're talking about. To go on a date or to respond to a message, or definitely don't play games is something they're talking about. You definitely do have a soulmate coming in. Okay, you're not seeing anyone, cool. You definitely have a soulmate coming in for you as something I'm getting for you, which is really cool. And it might walk you down a different path or show you another side of like you and your spirituality even, or spirituality. But they're meant to be someone a little bit different to grow you is something they're talking about. So don't shy away from love at this time. And if an offer comes in and it feels good to you, I would definitely jump on it. Because, the fish can jump out of the cup is something they're talking about. So that's one of the ways I've seen this card read that they're kind of showing to me as well. There's also a message like they're pointing my eyes to the flowers on this page's shirt thing that he's wearing. And it's almost this message of don't force things to grow. Allow things to grow from the dirt and bloom and blossom, if that makes sense. There is like a message of patience as well with some of the things you're developing in your life overall is what they're talking about with that card, which is a little bit different than the love message, if that makes sense. But I would keep manifesting love and showing up for you. Anything else that's important to show up for you. Speak truth. It's important that you're not hiding yourself for others, whether it's to make others more comfortable or anything else. And there's like this what's the best message here? Like you're not meant to be, okay, I want to make sure I get this across right. You're not meant to be a servant girl. What do I mean by that? Because they're like showing this message and it's like you, and it's more like in ancient or older times. And it's like they show you in like this servant kind of outfit pouring water into like a cup or something for the Lord or whatever. Not God, but like the baron or whatever they call him back in the day. Like you're meant to help people, but you're not meant to be a you're not meant to be a servant is what they're talking about, where you suppress your needs for other people, or where you sit in the corner quietly until someone needs you, if that makes sense. Like you're meant to be your own being and stand up and be a powerful, potent force in the world. And be someone who acts on their own whims is something they're talking about. Interestingly enough. So that's part of the message with this card of Speak Truth that's coming through for you. You're welcome, Divinely Protected. That's something they want to say is like, it's okay to help others and provide a service, I guess you could say. But don't be a servant to others is something they want to talk about, or feel like you need to be a slave. So, and it's okay to speak your mind even in a relationship, even if they disagree, if the other person disagrees or there's a disagreement, like that's okay. Like there's so many viewpoints in the world, and sometimes it's helpful to encounter that so you can get more clear on what's true for you, or so it grows both of you and gets both of you to go deeper into truth is something they're talking about. So don't shy away from speaking up and speaking your truth, honestly. I would also ask Archangel Michael for like some protection and love, weirdly enough, in that I don't think it's like you need to protect yourself so much, but it's more like divine guidance and steering you away from any pitfalls, I guess you could say, so that you can easily discern what's for you. And that way the right person comes in. But I would just kind of put that prayer out there and you'll be totally good. Also, things are going to go really well for you is what I'm getting. I feel like you have a lot of good things coming in every area, Sarah, which is really good. Ace of Wands is like a passionate new beginning, by the way, which is really cool. That's like a love offer. So I'd pay attention to love offers that really stand out to you. This wand is like it very much stands out on the card. It's like in your face. It's right there. It's huge. That's not supposed to be a euphemism, I don't think. But that's okay. That the euphemism is not the message. The message is like offers that stand out. Pay attention to that. Because you want someone you can build with. There's that castle in the background. They're saying you want someone you can build with. And make sure that like it flows like this river in the bottom of the card and it's natural, feels natural to you with the trees is something they're saying. So, but that's it. That's what I'm getting for you right now. I hope that helps. And if there is any type of loss, like Five of Cups, let things evolve from loss, honestly. You're not going to miss out is a weird message that they want to say for you. Sometimes you think you're missing out on things, but you're not. And I get you're not going to miss out and you're not missing out on things. There's like a reason things are transpiring the way they are. If you feel like you lost anything, you haven't. Weirdly enough, is something I'm getting. So I hope that helps. Thank you for doing these for everyone always, P. Oh, you're welcome, Destiny. Yeah. So I hope that helps, Sarah. You're on the right track. Love will find you. I don't know. So they were singing this. They were playing this song really quickly, and I'm not sure. Okay, I guess like one of the messages is like stay open. There's a lot of cool options coming for you. So I hope that helps. Ooh, it's 11:11. It's 1:11 here. Everyone make a wish. It's 11:11 somewhere. Oh, excuse me. Whew. Okay. You're welcome, Ruda. Thank you, Ruda. I really appreciate that and that feedback. That means so much. Okay. Drink some water. Yeah, I think I will. Okay. Stretchy. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Chandra. I'm glad to hear it. Okay. So Chandra, you said you've been so lost and confused and sad out of a job and love. Any words for you? Yeah, let's see what comes through for you. Sometimes everything implodes so you can build the best life possible is one of the first things I'm getting to say to you. I feel like that's kind of what happens, honestly. But again, like this message has been coming through again and again and again collectively, and they keep saying, I'm going to be saying this for the next month, but there is a positive turnaround coming for you. It's going to sound a little bit trite. Sometimes things fall apart just so they can fall back together is what they're talking about. Eight of Cups. One thing they're saying for you, interestingly enough, and I'll see what they have, okay, with the Five of Swords, that makes sense. It's time to walk away. It's time to leave the sadness behind is something they're talking about. And I know I can say that all day, but what would help you do that? What would be highest and best regarding that? One thing they're saying for you, and this could be, is they really want you to consider if you can afford it, if it makes sense, with anyone that feels good to you, really think about getting an energy work session just to kind of clear some things up. I feel like there's just a few things that are a little bit tangled that aren't helping, that just a little bit of energy work it would work like magic, just kind of detangle some things in your fields is what they're showing me. Interestingly enough, not that you need to worry or freak out about that stuff either. It's just kind of what they're showing me as a possible solution to help you step out of some of the troubles you've been in your life is what they're talking about. And one thing they're talking about is as you realign, everything else realigns as well. So the more you can do to sit and align yourself, even if it's just starting out with aligning your chakras with a meditation or something, and you're setting the intention that, or at least holding the understanding that this is helping to align every other area of your life, things will start to fall back together, if that makes sense. And you know what? One message they have for you as well, they're just like, sometimes you're just one step away from everything making sense. And so what does that mean for you? And you know what? Obviously, like sometimes things just start to make more sense as you keep going, but you never know when that aha moment hits where like all of a sudden you have total clarity of the path around you and the past and where you're going. And it's like this, it can be this moment of joy where spirit really comes in and shows you that to your mind's eye or your intuitive visuals. But you probably already are. I would not doubt that you already are, but I would just take any steps towards what you want to be, even if they're really small, or like getting an energy work session, or just sitting and doing your own chakra balancing if you don't want to spend the money on that, which I totally understand. Could be that small step that just starts to balance things out for you. And you know what? If you have crystals, blue kyanite's a really good one for aligning the energy systems. That's one that's coming through for you right now. And anything to do with the solar plexus would be good for you as well. You don't feel like you need to drop money on these if you don't have it. Labradorite was another crystal that they were recommending for you as well, just to help with your intuition. So with the Five of Swords coming out here, again, I'm getting the word defeat with this card for you. But what is the actual message with this here? One thing I'm getting for you is your defeats are what pave the ways to your successes, is what they're talking about. And it's really interesting the way they're showing it to me, because it's almost like, it's a little bit gruesome. I want to see if there's another way that they can give me this message to present it to you. I'll say it, and this is not my typical visual I get, but it's almost like every defeat is like a dead body, and it's almost like you're climbing on these defeats up to this like road, which is actually successful. So I don't think those are literal corpses, by the way. I think those are just like, it's almost even like there's pieces of yourself that you've lost that you need to reclaim. As something that was a message that was kind of coming through for starters as well when I sat down with your question here, Chandra. So what? Okay, where are we going with this? What would be highest and best to bring through here? What would be highest and best for me to say? Accurate. Climbing out of your defeats is going to lead you to a road of constant success, is one of the first things they're talking about. The other thing that they want to say is, I would sit with yourself and potentially ask yourself, what parts of myself have I lost that I need to reclaim? And that might not even be something you answer yourself. Like if you feel like you're intuitive and you can just get those answers, perfect, see what you get. But it could also just be like something like you put that out to the universe. Like what parts of myself have I lost, if any, that I need to reclaim, and see what manifests to show you what those parts are or what needs to come back to you, if that makes sense. And by doing that, you're actually starting to call those parts of you back in, because you're kind of giving attention to certain wounds or heartaches that need that healing attention of yours to begin to shift, if that makes sense. Also, any amount of time you can take to just sit and just put your awareness and attention on your hearts, whether it's your physical beating heart or your heart center or both, and just like sit with it. And it's almost just like letting it tell you things. And even if you don't feel like you're getting anything right away, just for some reason, I want to say, like, trust me, just like sit with your hearts and see what realizations come to you. And one thing I want to tie into this a little bit is one thing that I've heard for helping people channel that I think is from someone else, that I think is a really, really good piece of advice with like, when someone wants to learn how to channel, sometimes it's not, even if like someone's new to it and they don't get a message right away when they sit down to like journal or hear what their guides have to say. Sometimes it's more about getting into that frequency and energy of receiving messages and practicing that. And as you get more accustomed to that frequency or practice that, it begins to show up. And it's kind of more what I mean with like sitting with your heart, is allowing the frequency of talking to your heart and allowing your heart's knowing to speak to you to show up for you. And I feel like that would also just be healing for you to put your awareness on it and see how things shift as you work with your awareness on your hearts and your emotions and your body. Because sometimes, I mean, there is a quote that I really like, awareness is the precursor to change, which I think was another thing from Lee Harris. Thanks for the swan or whatever that was. That was really cool. I really appreciate that. But the other thing is awareness itself can just shift issues sometimes. Like if you have an emotion that comes up. I guess I'll give an example. This was way back. This was like 2017 when I was just really starting to get into the stuff. And like what I noticed was I had this pattern where I'd be like, oh, I have this feeling, like it was like an anxiety. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go drink. And so I'd go buy like a 6-pack and then I'd drink. And then I'd be like, oh, I still feel that feeling. I'm feeling it again. I'm gonna smoke hookah. And I'd smoke like hookah or like a cigar or something. And I'd be like, oh, I have this thing like, oh, I'm gonna go binge watch it. I don't know. But like what happened was I learned when that feeling came up and I had that, I don't know if it's a compulsion, but that compulsion to go do something, I'd just like sit with it. I'd sit with that feeling. I'd sit with that desire to go do something and be like, okay, let's give this 10 minutes. And as I sat with it for just like 5 or 10 minutes, it would shift and I no longer felt like I had to do anything. I just feel like, okay. That's an example, but I feel like you can really shift bigger things just with awareness as well. And sometimes your awareness, you have to become aware and take action. Sometimes like as you just become aware of a pattern, it begins to unravel all on its own. Or you begin to act a little bit differently just because you became aware that you started, I don't know, maybe you hear a recording of yourself, and this is something I want to work on. And maybe I shouldn't say it, but I'll say it. Like if I notice I say all the time, it's like maybe I become aware of that. I'm like, oh, I need to shift that. And like maybe that just starts to shift on its own because like my awareness is more there as I'm talking. Or maybe that's something I need to sit down and practice and literally just practice never saying whenever I record myself. Let's see. Oh, thanks for the fly traps. See what happens. And of course, now I'm just going to say all the time. Not really. That's a joke. But so those are some of the messages for you. What else would help you as well? So Ace of Swords coming out here. What I'm getting is the words fresh start. And it's also Ace cards can be about new beginnings as well. But this is also about clarity. I would ask for clarity. I would manifest that for yourself. Call upon Archangel Michael. He can be pretty consistent with the Ace of Swords. You know, Archangel Michael has the sword. He's also about clarity. And ask him to bring you to where you need to go. Like whether it's confusing or not or anything else, like ask him to calm the storm and just bring you to where you need to go. I feel like that will answer a lot of questions in and of itself as that manifests for you is what they're talking about. And one thing they're kind of talking about is like they're kind of showing the ground under the Ace of Swords, like rumbling like an earthquake and parting ways. But like what's being unearthed is like this relic. I think I had a visual like this somewhere on the last live, or I don't know. But sometimes when like, what's the message here? One message they have for you with all of this is that you are being uncovered and unearthed, and like the treasure that you are. And it's like for too long, maybe you've been buried in either what you thought you should be doing or just everyone else's stuff. I don't, what's the best way to say this? What I get is for too long, you've been buried and haven't let the true you shine forward. But this is teaching you who you are. And by who you are, I don't mean you're someone who's supposed to be lost and confused and going through a tough time in any way, shape, or form at all. By who you are, like who you are is actually beautiful. Like your soul, like your source, you know, source is you and you are source, your source incarnate. You're your highest self. And you're kind of shedding a lot of the human stuff that doesn't let that shine forth is another way I could put that. But you're really unearthing yourself through all this process. And it does lead to better. One thing they want to recommend for you is honing in your divine guidance if you can. Sometimes, I don't know if that's, you can just do that at the drop of a hat, but even just practicing pulling cards for yourself or asking what you should do each day and whether that's, or asking your soul if you're not sure who else to ask, like ask your soul, what should I do today? Or what would be best for me to do today? Or what do I do about this situation? And whether you get an answer or not, pay attention to like the synchronicities and like the things that manifest when you ask those questions or things that other people in your life say, like, oh, have you considered like doing this? And like, oh, maybe that's the answer to my question that I was asking my soul. It's like, because the universe can work through everything around you because it is everything and it is you. So don't discount that side of things, even if you don't feel like you're someone who can just channel messages right away. But anyways, all of that's going to turn around, all that to be said. I would also mind your mind and do your best to get things moving in a positive direction. Not in like a positivity for positivity's sake, because it's like, you know, if a tornado is like coming your way, towards your house. Sometimes you don't want to just be like standing out in your yard like, oh, I'm sure it'll work out. You probably want to take shelter, probably. Or if you're familiar with manifesting the weather or something, and you're just like, okay, universe, help me out. Like, do something. You probably just won't be like, oh, it's fine. I'm just gonna drive to work anyways. In this tornado-ridden weather we're having, even it's probably fine. It's sometimes optimism doesn't make sense, but I don't know. I think you know what I'm saying, but try to move things in a positive direction. Like, even if you're not being like, just saying like, oh, things will turn around. Like, maybe you could start asking the universe, like, what will it take for this to turn around? Like, how does it get any better than this? Will you show me how it gets better than this? Or what would it look like if everything went in the best directions for me? And like, you're starting to manifest those things, instead of like, not that you're manifesting fear and doubt when you're doing those things, but they're not always helpful, or they can be clues to what's going on within you that you can shift to heal or transform yourself, but they're not what you want to stew in, So hopefully any of that helps so far, Chandra. Anything else that would be for your highest good at this time? I do get work will improve. I do feel like you have a job situation coming around, whether it's through a friend of a friend. I would check with friends or like friends of a friend if you know anyone that you can check with, if that makes sense for your situation. As far as love, I would hold off on love for a second, and try to get things to a good place, and don't shoo it away if a good option shows itself up right now while you're going through all this. But focus on you right now is what I'd say. Like, that turns around in its own time, once the storm settles, I suppose you could say. But I hope that helps at all. Anything that would help with you feeling lost and confused at all. With Eight of Swords, what I'm getting for you, Chandra, is take any step, even if it doesn't make any sense. Any step is better than no step, and the universe always has a way to redirect us to the right step. For instance, like the visual they showed me is she put her foot over here, and then the universe took her foot, it was like, whoop, nope, over here. So even just taking a step over here, if it's not the right way, can redirect you over here in an instant, especially if you're paying attention. But take any step that resonates for you, that makes sense, that you feel like will give you some breathing room and help you out, or help to resolve the situation. And you'll be amazed at what the universe does to help you, or I want to say meet you halfway. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. But you'd be amazed at what the universe can do to help you out from there as you start just taking steps and listening to the feedback you're getting from the universe. Does that make sense? So I hope any of that helps you at all, Chandra. Hope that was good for you. Angie Brown, I've resonated with so much today. Glad to hear it. Yeah, you're welcome. I hope that helps and that it improves for you. But life does turn around. This isn't the end. It's actually a start. Or maybe it's a midway point through change. Cool. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Cool. I don't remember any of what I just said, so hopefully that helped. All that being said, I need to end the live. Excuse me, I have to get into more stretchies. Oh my God. Okay. But I appreciate you. I love you guys. I'm gonna get going. This was pretty good. This was a good 10, 11, 12. Yeah, it was like almost 3.5 hours. Dang. Look at that. Thanks, Chandra. But I love you guys. I really appreciate getting to do this. This has been a joy. I hope all of you got something really good from the live. Brandon, I'm so sorry. Can you post this to YouTube? Yeah, I need to post these to YouTube. I'll post them to YouTube. There's a lot I need to post to YouTube. And recent live. Like, for instance, I did like these general readings for all the signs for 2022 in December. And I still haven't posted it because I have to find all the timestamps for each reading. And I don't know. Sometimes I get busy with other things, or then I forget, and then I remember, but then it's like 2 a.m. I'm like, I don't know if it's a good time. So I'm going to make a point to do that, if not today, very soon, and just bite the bullet and take care of it. But anyways, you guys rock. I just want to give a shout out to the moderators, everyone who showed up to help moderate today. I really appreciate you guys. I saw B Divine, Destiny, Stephanique was here, Texas Jess, and I think there was one more, and I'm so sorry if I am not catching you. But I really appreciate you. Looking forward to watching you are wonderful. Oh, thank you so much. But yeah, shout out to the mods. Send some love to the mods. They really help me out and make chat work well for you guys. When Music Live, I can do another one probably next month, which I guess is pretty soon here. Because I did that on Friday. Oh, thank you for the mirror, Lena. Good to see ya. Oh, Mirror Bloom is what it's called. That's cool. So yeah, I can schedule another one of those for next month at a certain point here. But may you all have a blessed rest of your day, evening, whatever time it is for you, and have a beautiful rest of your week. And I hope the best positive turnarounds that would be for the highest good to find each of you find you, of course, and may the highest and best transpire. So you guys have the best days that each of you can have, and I will sign off. Otherwise, I will just keep talking and talking and talking and talking. Live Master, thank you for that gift. But thanks for all the gifts as well. Lena Pilgrim, you went ham on the gifts. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it so much. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Okay, I am sending love, and just may the angels bring the highest and best your way for each of you, fully for the highest good. Take care, guys.